So Andre Taylor is on the list for one of our best episodes, I think, obviously for the message, but kind of some of the behind the scenes stuff, what some people in the department may know, but a lot of the listeners may not know, is at the time Andre Taylor was a sergeant in SWAT, and specifically he was my supervisor. And his story of him reaching out to the wellness unit and asking for some assistance in utilizing the alcohol leave policy and getting treatment was a shock to me, because I worked for this man, saw him every day, and I had no clue that he was going through something like this. And so him going through that treatment program and then coming back out, I thought it was going to be good if we could get him to speak on that whole thing from the beginning and before even coming in to the wellness unit and asking for some assistance. And then the after. And I think what was even more enlightening is him getting into the weeds and talking about being at Stonegate and going through those weeks and that process and what it was like in general for people, but then also what his inner or internal perspective was and how that played out for him. And besides just being a good friend, he's also someone who's very prolific on the police department. He's worked his way up through the ranks. He's well known. He's good at speaking. It was something we just had to have on. We had to have him on.
Well, he's very good at speaking, but he's good at speaking on things he wants. He's comfortable speaking with this, and this was like one of his dark. This is something that not many people know. And in this wellness unit, we work off confidentiality, and Gordon came on for his episode, and we promoted it as a alcohol leave success story. We didn't do that with Dre. We just released it as, this is Andre effing Taylor, and people are going to listen, and halfway through they're going to probably be very surprised.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. It wasn't touted from the alcohol leave perspective. It was, everyone knows who this man is. Get ready for this story.
And I found it interesting because Andre is a guy with a ton of confidence. You've never seen him where he's meager. And to see him come in as humble as he was and tell you everything didn't hold anything back on this. He absolutely opened everything up. I remember I said, you're the most uncomfortable I've ever seen you right now. And I was uncomfortable. I'd thrown my back out the day before, and so I'm sitting here in absolute agony. But watching him, basically in the same agony, you could see that he was hurting, but it wasn't that he was hurting. It was just super uncomfortable admitting that he had any problem, but he was comfortable with it at the same time. It was a very interesting dynamic.
It was. You talk about that confidence, and I think there was confidence in owning it. But he's always been a private person.
Yes.
And so there was that dichotomy of what was going on internally with him. It was he was confident in owning it, but yet, hey, we're peeling back some layers that normally I'm a private person and I wouldn't be saying these things.
And you would never look at him and be like, oh yeah, he's definitely been an alcoholic. Like he didn't.
Oh yeah. He needs to go to rehab.
He's in fantastic shape. He's always been in shape. He's still a health nut. The guy carries fruit everywhere he goes, basically fruit and water. And he's just constantly eating well. You would never look at him and be like, that guy has a problem.
There's a toaster oven in his office.
Yeah. Well, you talk about that night that he reached out to the wellness unit the night, and I've talked about this before multiple times. The night that we were
Cops Cop,
and you were actually sitting
right next to you.
Sitting right next to me.
You weren't feeling well already.
No, I was already kind of feeling like I was on the verge of a cold that night, and I remember a couple hours before I was getting ready in the tux, and I would get the email come across to the wellness unit. We have an email just for the wellness unit that goes to only the wellness unit members, nobody else. Well, I see this email and it says basically somebody want to know what they need to do to use the alcohol leave policy for rehab, and I saw it was Andre Taylor, and you could see it was sent from iPhone, so it didn't have his signature block and all that. And I stared at it because I've known Andre since he was a PO, and when he first went to SWAT. We've always been friends and very friendly. I see that, and I think to myself, there's got to be another Andre Taylor on DPD. So I literally get my laptop out, and first I responded in like 2 minutes, and I said, yes, I'm going to be contacting you shortly. And I looked and made sure that I looked into the directory, and I said, is there there was only one Andre Taylor. And I went, it's him. Wow. Got dressed, went on to Cops Cop that night and sit with you and Emily, and it was this way. I was sitting there thinking, wow, this is Danny's boss, and he can't know this.
Yeah.
And just and I knew it was going to affect you and probably surprise you.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that also speaks to the integrity of the confidentiality we have in the wellness unit too. We have people that we're close to and they're going through these things, but I think there's some trust there, obviously, that they can reach out and know that we're going to take care of them.
Yeah, we owe that to them though. And that's why we it's picking the right people for this unit so important. But that was on a Saturday. And he was I'll say this, he was the fourth person that had reached out utilizing the policy, okay, at that point. That was Saturday. That's how he was feeling that particular moment when he sent that email, okay? And then he responded to me, but you don't know how he's going to feel the next day or the next couple of days or getting him actually pack up. It's time to go. You're going to go into this facility and get some help. People, and I have had people go back and forth. So that is a real thing, and that's something you got to really be careful with. You got to respect their the confidentiality, but also take care of that person from the moment they contact you, and that's what we did with Andre. And I got really sick later on that night at Cops Cop with like chills. I mean, I had something because I was supposed to ride with Fig out to Stonegate that Tuesday morning, and I was too sick because Dre had to tie up a lot of loose ends before he was sergeant over a SWAT.
Yeah,
he had to tie up a lot of loose ends before he was able to go and go to Stonegate and check in. But I think Fig and Massey, gave him a ride out there. But I'll say this: I was there when they picked him up in the bridge ceremony at Stonegate. It's powerful to see, and it was really powerful for me to see Dre over there, and basically all the people that are in there kind of in a circle, and he's going around giving handshakes, hugs, there's tears, and then he kind of walks across the bridge to us. We're waiting on the other side of this little bridge that goes across the stream in the parking lot, and that's their bridge ceremony. That was kind of cool to see. He couldn't wait to get his ass home after being gone that long.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, we drove him straight to his house. He goes, I'm going to go take a nap. He goes in, and then we continually check on him the days after. And then I think it was like a few weeks, right, that we've said, hey, would you be interested?
Yeah, I can't.
Was it longer?
I can't recall.
It wasn't that long after, though.
Well, he went in, January, February?
It was January.
Yeah, I think we recorded, April? Maybe a couple
Okay,
months.
it was a little bit then. Okay.
A couple months later.
So when we first talked about it, he you could tell he was tense, but he also he didn't want to say no just because he's like I think he understands the message of for one of going through it and coming out the other end is important for others to hear that might be struggling. But I do remember when we start telling the story of him growing up in Chicago and telling his life story and his SWAT career, his mounted career, and then back to SWAT. And then I remember, okay, we're going to talk about January. And then he said, he rubs his hands together, goes, oh, we're getting into the good stuff. And that's when what Kent's describing is that you could just see it just kind of overtake him. It was really interesting to see that. And then we get through it, and he's extremely candid. And I thought it was an amazing episode. And you remember Brian Candelari actually sent in on that?
Yeah, I remember Brian was there for it too. And I think, you talk about Andre Onan, and he's a major now. So at the time he was a sergeant. So and then after he promoted to lieutenant, and did he promote to lieutenant after we did that episode, or just shortly after maybe? And then now he's a major. But I think, what a way to step up and also just show leadership in that way. That hey, this is another side to the police profession, and this is what's going on, and this is how we handle it. Just own it and own it with confidence and work through these problems.
Yeah, and I do want to touch on this. So we did not promote it as a success story in the alcohol leave policy or wellness related. I had so many people reaching out. Even Major Swires reached out and goes, "Holy shit, this just took a left turn." And I was at a movie theater. I was actually with Floyd going to see him, and I said, "Yeah, I told you it's gonna surprise a lot of people." But I had so many people reaching out like, "WTF, Dre?" I'm like, "Yep, it's good, huh?"
Way to put them on their heels, Dre.
Yeah, he did. He and I'll say about Dre's mission, about his leadership, and also just never not wanting to be the person to pick somebody up and make them better or help them. I reached out to him not long ago, and I said, I have an officer that reached out to me and said they heard this other episode we did with Gordon and Dre talking about their experiences, because I believe that there's power in messaging. That's why we do this. There's, however you want to take it, there's power in putting out success stories and also maybe putting people's mind at ease that may need help and making that decision to go forward. This officer reaches out and says, "Hey, I think I need help, but do you think Dre would talk to me?" I bet he will. I said, let me call him. It was on a weekend. I called Dre, and he says, "Send me his number." Long story short, not even 2 weeks later, that kid that was on the same journey as Dre. And that was really cool. And I think Dre's still in contact with them today.
I went down there because my grandmother and my godfather told me to get the hell out of Chicago. It was like, you can't stay here. You're a teenager. 18, 19. But in Chicago, everybody was dying. Teenage males were just straight dying. And so it was just the violence. And so they were like, you got to get out of here. Once we were told that this guy was going to pretty much give us a countdown, I was on the entry team, slamming the door to get the team in. We get the go-ahead. We start breaching the door. I start slamming the door. So the guy is shooting as I'm slamming the door. It was already too late. But that was a heck of a moment because there were so many other things I think we could have did. That was, in my opinion, a failure for our team. That's not an opinion. We failed. The real meat and potatoes of our job is saving someone's life that absolutely cannot do it themselves, or the situation causes that only a select few can make this happen. That's when it's time to come to work. That's when you really get this thing in. And if you don't do that, you failed. What are you here for? And that's how the team felt. I mean, that was a tough one for us. I drove home, and I didn't cause any damage, but I realized at that point that I was about to throw away my career. I woke up and realized that I could have just lost everything, that I risked everything for my family, right? Because work is one thing, but not providing for my kids is another, and I had a real hard time with that.
You're listening to the ATO Bridging the Divide podcast, brought to you by the Assist the Officer Foundation.
Since 1999, the ATO has given assistance to the first responder community. And now we want to give them a platform to hear their incredible stories.
We also want to hear the stories of the many people that support us.
Our community is small, but it is strong.
We have differences. We don't always agree. And we all make mistakes.
But together we can grow. We can heal.
And we can learn from those mistakes.
And together we can bridge the divide.
When you get what you want in your struggle for self, and the world makes you king for a day, just go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't your father or mother or wife whose judgment upon you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back from the glass. He's the fellow to please. Never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end, and you've passed your most difficult, dangerous test if the man in the glass is your friend. You may fool the whole world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartache and tears if you cheated the man in the glass. Welcome back, ATL family. This is Joe King. I'm with the great Danny Canetti in Camp Wolverton. You've just heard my favorite poem, The Man in the Glass. Today's story is about a man who climbed to the Dallas PD mountaintop at a young age, learned from Dallas SWAT legends, and then formed his own path and reputation, and is now one of the most respected leaders Dallas PD has on its roster. This man has been successful at everything he's done in life, from being an incredible athlete, becoming an exceptional SWAT operator, and then become a supervisor over that same unit. However, one day in January, he looked into the glass and did not like what he saw, and he knew he was ready to climb yet another mountain in life to find a different kind of success. He carefully typed a message and hit send. After he got a response, he knew that the mountain to climb was real, and he just took his first step. Sergeant Andre Taylor, Dallas SWAT, welcome to the ATL stage.
Thank you.
Also, a guest co-host is Sergeant Brian Candelaria. He came back for more punishment, and he has a unique perspective, and he worked with Sarge, and he wants to sit in and watch this event. You ready to get into this?
I guess so. Let's get it.
All right, let's get it over. Hey, it's like we're gonna start off slow. It's like pulling off a scab, very slowly.
I think you did a Band-Aid.
Yeah, Band-Aid.
Let's not turn him into a scab picker right off the bat.
Okay, we'll do the Band-Aid and then rip out the scab. Okay, all right. I want to talk about your early life. Where'd you grow up?
Born and raised in Chicago.
Windy City?
Yep, Windy City, south side of Chicago. Inner city. So I think, a lot of people these days say Chicago, and they're from, 700 miles south. And I'm in Chicago. And I'm like, there's a big difference from being in the city.
Can you describe that? I've never been to Chicago. I've flown in through O'Hare, but I've never actually.
So I grew up born in '75. So Chicago for me, it was the '80s and '90s. And I'd say South Side is, or as they say, South Side is the realest. Predominantly, you have the South Side, West Side, or minorities are mostly. South Side was just rough. I mean, grew up in the projects on the low end of Chicago, and it's a way of life. You can't. It's not avoidable, right? You either work with it, learn how to deal with it, or you get eaten.
If you can compare any part of Dallas to that side, or is there anything that does compare to it?
Yeah, Dixon Circle.
Okay.
Dixon Circle is very close.
Wow.
Yeah, but imagine Dixon Circle all over the city.
We talked about this Dixon Circle actually in the Candelaria's episode. Mm-hmm. What about it? The community?
So it's the community. It's the mindset. It's the 100%. This is all we know. This is the only way of life. I was probably 16 before I actually got outside of an area of Chicago that I didn't know was rough, right? And that was my godfather took me to a mall just outside of the west side. I forget what city it was, but just outside on the west side of Chicago, little suburban area. And I was like, this is Chicago? He was like, yeah, we're still in the city. I'd never seen it. 16 years, I'd never seen it because all I knew was south side of Chicago, west side, because family was over there. But I didn't know anything else. And that's kind of the people like you. If you don't get out of that, you don't move around. You just don't know because your family's there, your friends are there, and this is all y'all do. So very much like Dickinson Circle.
So you said it's a way of life. It's all you know. You learn it or to survive or you don't. So up to 16 years old, what's young Dre like? What are you doing?
So oddly enough, young Dre was kind of like everybody else. Going outside playing, having a good time. You go to school because you have to. But everything else as part of your growing up is your environment. It's the hood. It's your friends. It's family. It's everything outside, right? You get home from school, do a little bit of homework. Mom kicks you out the house. You don't come back in the house until it's almost dark, right? Street lights come on. She comes on the porch. She yells. You better have your ass back on the porch, or back at the house. Everybody knew mom's voice or their mom's voice when she yelled out, hey, come back to the house, especially if you weren't already there. So that part wasn't different. That part wasn't different for me than most folks, but it's the violence that's part of it that you thought was normal, and it's not. Gangs, shootings, cuttings, all of that stuff is not a normal thing. But
so did you see a lot of violence?
What?
Yeah. No, how we talked about before how like in parts of Dallas that they'll have a dead body laying out in a murder scene, and then it's like a theater. People are bringing their kids up to go watch, basically see what's going on.
So I had a cousin to get stabbed and passed away. He died on the block, on our block. I think I was 11. I was 11. He was outside arguing with a guy. Him and the guy got into it. A couple other guys came up. So he turned to address them, turned back around. The guy stabs him a few times, leaves. Everybody comes out. I mean, there was no rendering aid. There was no help. There was no anything. It just...
Even back then, before cell phones, people were doing that, where they're just spectators.
Yeah, everybody just comes out to see what's going on. I mean, the whole neighborhood came out. The whole block came out. And... eventually you hear that, your cousin got stabbed and everybody's running from everywhere and they're just looking. I mean, there's nothing happening. But that was in the 80s.
And that was the norm.
Every day, somebody was getting hurt. It was not an unusual thing.
So talking about when you were growing up there, how were you able to stay out and of trouble and kind of stay in that straight and narrow path?
Oh, no.
He didn't.
City.
Yeah, he didn't. He was in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're doing pretty good. I mean, you're here now, and
so as I would say as luck, but as God would have it or as fate would have it, my mom didn't play when it came to get your work done, get your school stuff done. My mom had a very specific philosophy, which she believed you should be able to handle being in the streets, be able to handle being in the classroom, be able to conduct yourself in a professional, what she would consider a professional environment. My mom actually dropped out of school at 16. So her ambition, of course, was to make sure that her kids got past where she was. So she didn't really tolerate a lot of BS as far as getting your stuff done. She didn't play that. And it wasn't until later, I was in high school, when she actually started working and actually making a way for herself. My mom was on public assistance and all that housing assistance stuff. I mean, it was just the typical story. So she didn't play about that part. There was no joking about getting your work done. What are your grades going to look like? So, I mean, you came in, you did your homework, then you got to go outside. All your chores and stuff got done in the morning, but she didn't play about that. So you still got in trouble. You still, got, spanked or disciplined and all of that. Hell, I remember once getting hit by a car and I didn't tell her. And it was one of the ladies in the neighborhood who hit me. I was coming out of an alley. There's a bunch of us coming out of an alley on our bikes, hauling ass through the alley. Boom, come out onto the street. The lady's coming down. Boom, hits me on the bike. I end up on the hood of her car. I'm looking at her like, oh my God, what? She jumps out of the car. She goes, are you okay? Oh, I'm fine. Because, I mean, you're a kid. You're all right. Get off the car, get my bike, front tires turned, walk it all the way to the house. Don't say anything to my mom about it. About 4 or 5 days later, the lady sees my mom. She goes, hey, how's Andre? She's like, what are you talking about? He's fine. She goes, well, I mean, I hit him with my car. Man, I got the beating of my life. There's a few beatings that I remember. That one was definitely one of them. And she said, you could have had internal bleeding. You could have died. Da, da, da. Yeah, Mom didn't play.
You keep mentioning your mother. Was she like the biggest figure in your life that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom was just exceptional, awesome woman. Again, she grew up in Chicago too. So, I mean, my mom knew gang banging. She was in a gang. She knew all of that lifestyle because that's where we lived. But she just wanted more for us.
What were some of the more prominent gangs in Chicago when you were there?
Oh, probably the same ones that are still there.
Yeah.
Vice Lords, Gangs of Disciples, and then some variations of that. But those predominantly year two. And then there's going to be all these little branch offs from that. You had a few Latin gangs back then, but they weren't that big yet.
Did the Asian gangs at all up in that area? Okay.
No, definitely not on the south side or the west side.
Did you gravitate to sports at some point?
So, again, being outside all the time, you played everything: basketball, baseball, football. It didn't matter. Mostly football, though. Loved football. Got pretty good at it. Was pretty fast, even though I was short. So I was like super short when I was younger. I graduated 8th grade at like 4'8", 97 pounds. So
that's my height now.
Yeah. I went to high school, so that summer, graduated 8th grade, went to high school, and I grew 3 inches. So I was like, yes, I am it. I'm it. So 4'11".
You're ready for basketball.
100 pounds, yes.
Yeah.
I thought I was ready. I get in high school, and I'm the shortest guy in the school. So, yeah. But athletically, I could keep up. So it was blessing and a curse.
Bears fan?
Oh, all the way.
Sweetness.
Bears and Bulls. I never watched hockey, though.
No, okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
They got somewhat of a good team out here. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I like the Bears and when the Ryan defense, the 46 defense, when and they're amazing. And I used to like watching Peyton. I didn't care for McMahon much, but man, he didn't.
Everyone wanted to be somebody on the Bears in '85.
Who'd you want to be?
Oh, Walter Payton.
Okay,
by far. That was the only way to run the ball. He didn't mind taking a hit, or he would. The philosophy was he's going to hit you.
Yeah,
you're not just going to take that hit. So
you don't see that these days. They don't.
No, guys are a little softer. Well, I can't say they're soft. They're just different. How about that? Yeah.
Well, the linebacker. I mean, everybody's bigger. You got safeties that are sizes of some, stand-up ends.
You got linemen running 4.5s.
Yeah.
How does that? I mean, that's crazy.
The evolution. Mm-hmm. So you say you're a Bulls fan. I got to say that the Jordan Bull. I mean, like everybody growing up then. I mean, I even have a Jordan rookie still from that '86 Fleer set. I held on to that, but I was being here in Dallas, Texas, growing up here. I was obsessed with the Bulls and Jordan.
Everybody in Chicago were.
Should have won 8 straight if he wouldn't have left for those.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So you got into sports and that kept evolving. What did it evolve to, like when you got into high school, later years?
So high school for me, graduated from 8th grade. Went to high school, and I went to Lindblom Tech High School. Lindblom was a college prep school. So you actually had to even though it was a public school, you had to test to get in. And so I had to travel from the south side of Chicago to the southwest side of Chicago on public transportation. So I was leaving my house at 6 o'clock in the morning so I could be at school by 7:50, just to make sure you could take all the buses, trains, whatever, so you could be there on time. Because there is no bus that comes and picks you up for school. So got there, and I guess sports wasn't necessarily my mom's big concern. Again, her thing was the grades. Make sure your grades were right. So I was playing pretty much track, baseball. No, I didn't play baseball. Track, football. Wanted to go out for basketball, but I was way too short for it. But academically, man, I was in everything. Anything to keep me busy. And she encouraged doing everything. So I was like on the academic decathlon team, French team, debate team, math club, architecture and drafting club.
This makes sense now.
What's that?
I think guys get surprised sometimes on different hobbies or interests you have. Like, really? And I'm like, Dre walks to the beat of his own drum.
Yes.
He does his own thing. He's got things you wouldn't even know about. That's just the way he is.
They're going to know now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for me, coming out of high school or going into high school, the sports just wasn't the real focus. I did it as kind of a byproduct. It was just something else to do. Because again, my mom didn't play. You were coming out of high school. Her goal was to get us all out of high school because she had never done that. All right. So she made sure she stayed on us to make that happen.
Did you have any run-ins or any kind of relationship growing up, late teen, with Chicago PD? All right.
So
You can say whatever you want. If you incriminate yourself, I'll just
yeah, we'll take it out. Right. Play statute limitations.
So, no, I would say nothing different than what anybody in Chicago would have got caught up for, right? Funny story about Chicago, though. Chicago PD. It wasn't until I became an officer here that I realized that how we were treated by Chicago PD was a violation of our civil rights. I mean, if you got caught and talked to, you got spanked. You got some attention or some loving, as you know. And so the whole, when you see the police run, that was just a regular thing because you didn't want to get caught. You got caught, you got hurt. And then you got let go most of the time, right? So it was kind of the trade-off in the neighborhood unless it was serious. But again, we were kids. So there was still back in the day when you could actually have a fight and see the person the next day and fight. Now, if that was a gang fight, though, it was a little different. So folks might end up dying. But no real. I was just super bad and got caught with this, that, and the other. My cousins pretty much kept me out of that. They wouldn't allow me to hang out with them.
And Mama?
Mom didn't have any say-so in it. Once you get outside,
okay,
man, Mom,
free for all.
Yeah, Mom, she can't stop that. But my cousins were all older, bigger. They were all in the drug game and all of that kind of stuff. So myself and another cousin, they just wouldn't let us hang around. I think I was probably 5 years younger than the other group of cousins. And so we would try to come and hang out with them, and they just pretty much kick our ass and tell us to go somewhere else. And we used to get really upset about it, right? You know, we were trying to be there, be part of the scene, be part of the family. And they were like, nah. So out of all of that, there's only one cousin. And I was probably like 10, 11. There's only one cousin still alive. Well, me and my other cousin. But that was it. Just one more of that older group. Just one.
Good on them, shielding you from that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, of course, at that time, you think, you know, why y'all hating on us? You treating us bad, but they were trying to protect us.
Just curious, will this older cousin hear this episode?
I don't know. I doubt it. He doesn't do, police stuff. None of the family really did police
but will you
stuff.
share it with him?
Oh yeah. I mean, if he wants
Cool.
to hear it,
All right.
yeah. But yeah. I mean, they were awesome in that. I wouldn't have known it then, right? Because we were ostracized, so to speak. It's like, why can't we? We're trying to be with the fam. We're trying to do everything else that everyone else is doing, and they wouldn't let it.
Wouldn't let you into the treehouse.
Yeah, it was hard. At that time, it was really hard because this is what everyone does, but they wouldn't let us do it. And so we were a little upset about it, but they also wouldn't let anyone in the neighborhood let us do it. So that was the other thing, because sometimes your family might not do it. You can go over here and holler at these folks, and they'll take care of you. Nah, everybody knew.
Good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you may not be sitting here with us right there,
Very much so.
So where did you go to college at?
Jackson State University.
All right. So did you go there on a scholarship, or let's talk about that.
Oh my God. So I finished up high school, and I thought, just kind of coming out of high school, I was just going to be good. And again, my mom just wanted us to get out of high school. So I didn't even plan to go to college. High school was done. Once I was done with high school, I was going to start working, help mom out. So I didn't put in one college application before I graduated, not one. Best friend and I said we were going to stay, start working. He actually got a football scholarship, though, and didn't go. But we were going to stay in Chicago. We were going to be there, work, and take care of the family, do what we could, hustle up, and all of that good stuff. So we went to Harold Washington Community College for first semester. I guess we got out for the summer, did our little thing, and signed up for some classes. We took the classes that first semester, and we were like, this is some bullshit. Because we came from a college prep school. It was like, this is trash. We don't need this. So his girlfriend was like, well, y'all need to put in some college applications. And she called us a few choice words because we didn't. So we applied to Jackson State, the only school we applied for. We got accepted, no problems, because, I mean, hell, our scores were good, our grades were good, but we didn't have any financial aid. And, of course, because we didn't plan to do anything, we were just like, whatever. So we got accepted for that January, but no money. So we said, hey, we're just going to stick around. So we stayed in Chicago, and actually, I think that's where a lot of things changed for both of us. Stayed in Chicago from January to June. Actually, we stayed there to August, but from January to June, we went to work, got a little job. I got a job in Evanston. He got a job at the library. And after work, so we both worked during the day. After work, we would go to the YMCA from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., 5 days a week.
Wow.
Working out.
There you go.
Like ridiculous. I think between that 6 months, I grew probably another 2 inches, and I went from 160 pounds to 190 in 6 months.
That's a lot of working out.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
So you got into sports at Jackson State?
So again, more focus on the school more so than the sports. But I did play football at Jackson State. But I went down there because my grandmother and my godfather told me to get the hell out of Chicago. It was like, you can't stay here. You're a teenager. And, 18, 19. But in Chicago, everybody was dying. Teenage males were just straight dying. And so it was just the violence. And so they were like, you got to get out of here. You can't stay. So once we applied to Jackson State and we left, it was pretty good there. But I figured if I'm back in school, I might as well make it worth my while. And so, again, the focus wasn't, and again, we just applied to go down there. So there wasn't a sports scholarship or any of that kind of stuff. And I didn't even walk on until my sophomore year because I didn't know anything about college. So,
what position did you play?
Tailback.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I've known you since you got on DPD, and you're always just a freak physical specimen. I mean, you really are. What was your 40 time?
4.3.
Yeah,
4.3.
That's moving.
It was yeah.
That's fast, Dre.
There were guys that were faster than me.
Oh yeah, but that's pretty damn fast.
It didn't seem like it back then.
Yeah.
There were a lot of guys faster than me.
Man, if I ran a 4.3, you couldn't even speak to me.
No.
Be talking about somebody ran fast. Get out of my face.
Bruh, there were guys that ran 4.2s all day long, like effortlessly. So 4.3, 4.4, on average, but a 4.3 every now and again. That was just okay.
Yeah.
Wow. There were some gifted guys down there.
When did you decide you wanted to get in law enforcement?
I never wanted to get in law enforcement, ever.
Well, how the hell that happen?
I needed a job coming out of college.
Okay. Yeah.
I never, ever, 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 ever wanted to be police. So, as that story goes, I graduated from Jackson State, and what was it? December of '98. I was working, and I was doing personal training, working as a security guard, and some other little odd thing. I don't even remember what it was. But my day started at like 5 a.m.
Sounds a lot like a gigolo.
Yeah, well,
we could make that the title. The Dallas Gigolo.
But the day started at 5 a.m, didn't finish till 9. And I was like, there's got to be an easier way to make some money than this. The year before, in '97, Dallas had come down and said, hey, we're hiring. And I was like, I wonder if those some of the guns are still hiring or not. Because I was like, they were talking about $39,000 a year. I'm like, I'm not making that right now. $39,000. It's a lot of money. It was big money for me back then. So sent the application in. I called, and they said, yes, of course we're still hiring. We'll send you an application. So this was, again, before emails and stuff like that. So they actually sent it in the mail, sent the application.
Big, thick packet.
Yes, yes, big, thick packet. I filled it out, I think like January 28th. Sent it down. I figured, well, I don't know how long it'll be before I hear from them. February, they said, hey, can you come down, mid-February, can you come down for a 3-day testing? I was like, absolutely. I'll come on then for that. So came down, did that little weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday testing thing that they used to do. And then I ended up getting hired in the March 19th class. So got hired in like less than 2 months.
So saying that you didn't ever want to be a cop, now it's like becoming real for you?
It still didn't stick yet. It wasn't even.
Did you think you were going to do it temporarily?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So at this point, I was like, I'll step in there, I'll do a little bit, and then maybe I'll go like federal or something like that. You know, I'll go to a federal service, and still wasn't thinking policing by any means. Again, because it just never seemed appealing. There was no real oomph to it. And that whole, well, why do you want it? I want to protect and serve. No, I needed a job, and that was the only out.
Have you ever been to Dallas before?
No.
Really?
I had never been here.
You ever been to Texas?
No. Yes. Frat brothers came here one time. So Fort Worth. He I think we did a little road trip because his folks were from here. So we came to some part of Fort Worth. I don't even remember what it was, but we stayed the weekend and then we left. But that was the only time I'd ever been here.
What did you know about Dallas? But
nothing.
Other than they had the amazing Dallas Cowboys.
No. Trash. Trash. So
I had to slip.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
No.
I got you smiling though.
Yeah, I know, right? No, I'm a Bears and 49ers fan.
Wow.
So I root for any team that plays the Cowboys, team, all teams that play the Cowboys.
So it sounds like Chief Crush takes up the opposite. He said the Niners, he roots anybody who's playing the Niners is his favorite team.
Yes, when it comes to the Cowboys, yes. Right. So no, I didn't know anything about Texas. Just so more or less when I went to Jackson State, it was take a direction. You know, you need to do something different. I got ready to graduate, and I was like, okay, cool, I need to do something different. And had Dallas not come down and said that they were hiring, I wouldn't have made that call. So it was just happenstance, guidance.
We've interviewed so many people that basically have put in other applications, other agencies, and it seems like Dallas always somehow just came out of nowhere to fall in their lap.
Yeah, recruiting, if you're listening, there's a common theme of Dallas called first, and that's the only reason I'm here. So
there is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you listen to the other episodes, and like Dallas answered first, or the next thing you know, 2 weeks later, they contacted me and gave me a job. So
even like Dottie and Steve Claggett way back. I mean, it literally there's a theme with like, hey, we're happy to have you here.
Yeah, I mean, it
worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. Had they not reached out, no idea.
So when you get into the academy, where's your impressions of Dallas PD in this academy?
Oh my God! So, in classic Dre fashion, I get into the academy. I moved here. So at the time, I was engaged. I had a stepson, and I was like, okay, we're going to see how we can make this work, right? I'm going to try to do this family thing and be this guy. But in classic Dre fashion, I moved down here on Saturday, and the academy starts that Monday, right? So I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to be at, what I'm going to do. I've never even drove to the academy to see where the hell I'm going to be at, and it starts Monday.
We didn't have phones and Google back then either.
No, Maps Go. Yeah, that was a Maps Go, right? It was something to figure it out. So classic Dre fashion, I show up Monday, academy, you had to be there 8 o'clock. I got there like 8:10.
Oh, first day.
First day, classic Dre fashion. Tuesday, I get there like 8:05.
Improving.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Wednesday, I get there like 8:05. A sergeant pulls me into the office and says, hey, I noticed you've been late. I said, yes, sir. I'm just getting to Dallas. I hadn't even been here a week. I'm just trying to figure my way. Well, either you figure it out tomorrow or you're fired. I said, what? I said, "Are you serious?" I just have never. Yeah, figure it out tomorrow. You're fired.
How far were you living from the academy?
Lancaster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not that far.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
15 minutes. there was no traffic.
Wow. No. Especially that time.
No reason at all to be late 3 days in a row.
No, none at all.
Hey, run with that.
Yes, yeah. No, again, like I said, classic Dre fashion, right? Dre's going to do it his way. I'll get there. That's not a problem. So, yeah, things had to change real quick. Yeah.
We're going through and seeing a new different type of structure. Have you been exposed to anything like that before?
No.
Okay.
So I pretty much.
Even in sports,
I could pretty much do things my way, how I wanted to do it, and I could get by with it, make it happen. Until, like I said, until then.
He ran a 4.3. Like,
Right.
He could show up to practice a little bit, and
right.
nobody's
I
going
was
to say
good.
anything.
Yeah. Nobody usually does.
What academy class were you in?
261.
Okay. Who was is anybody else still in the department?
Oh, yeah, quite a few folks, actually. We still have, who is it? Lieutenant Sanderlin.
Okay.
Melinda. Gutierrez.
Yeah.
Who else is still here? Amy Brewer.
Oh, shout out Amy. Yeah.
Yeah, Brew Dog.
Wow.
That's my dog. Chris Williams is still here. He's a Southeast. Who else is still here? We still have a few. I think we have about 8 or 9 people still here.
Yeah, I think we have 5 or 6. I mean, we're dwindling.
Yeah, it's pretty thin. I mean, now, hell, it's been 24 years.
Yeah. So, the academy, did you find it easy or hard? Or did you just once you finally showed up on time?
Once the sergeant kind of threatened my whole job and livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actual academy was pretty simple, right? Because I just come out of college, so I was like,
I'm in study mode.
I'm sitting here at the desk, read, test, end of the week, good to go.
And then role play it, suspect, cop, bad guy.
Yeah. So DT was fun. I mean, I came out of college.
It was cute to you. You thought, that's cute.
Yes,
It's cute.
Pretty much it. Yeah, it was cute.
It was cute. That's cute
So
over there.
I remember me. So this was back when they used to do body fat test and all of that kind of stuff, sit and reach and all of that. Me and Josh Sanderlin were both at 6% body fat when we used to do the test. So I think I was 193 pounds with 6% body fat. Josh was like 145 pounds.
Still is.
Yeah, with 6% body fat. Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So I'm going out on a limb here. Did you get top overall in fitness?
I did. I did, but there was a guy in my class named David Isagire, who came out of the military.
Oh, yeah, I know David.
I think Dave's still here, too.
Yeah.
Yes, he
Is he still at Southeast or something?
No.
He got a detective spot somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
he's a detective. Dave would smoke me on the 1.5 miles.
Yeah, that was his thing to run. Yeah.
Bruh. I mean, smoke me. I was like, how is he doing this? Because you look at David, he is unassuming. You go, nah, this
He's
guy.
not running 4.3.
No. And he doesn't look like it, but I didn't know he was Special Forces or something like that either. I think it was the very last PT test. I was trying to keep up with him, and something happened to his knee. And he was like, go ahead and pass me. I was like, are you kidding me? So I got the 1.5 miles done in under 9 minutes. But had he not just said, go ahead and pass me, I wouldn't have been close.
Man, poor Dave. That's signs of things to come. But he's had some.
Yes, a lot of knee surgeries and a lot of other stuff.
We're running out there on that track doesn't do too well for the knees.
No, I mean, but hell, at the time I was young, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Nothing mattered then.
Soon you graduate. What division did you go to?
Northeast.
Oh.
Man, I went to Northeast, and I think that is the best station on the department.
We'll cut that out, Danny.
Yeah, you're wrong.
No, I'm absolutely correct.
We got 4 Southeast guys and 1 Northeast. I wonder who's going to win this argument.
So
and we got editing rights too, so don't forget that.
Yeah, I know, right?
We'll dub a voice in of him saying Southeast the best.
Southeast, Southeast, God's country.
So now we got the clip now, Danny. We can alter it. Yeah.
So the only reason I think Northeast is probably one of the better stations is because you got everything there.
Variety.
Yeah, you got variety. You still had that North Grove area, which was the 20s for us.
John West,
Buckner, Peavy area. And that's where I was actually assigned to Element 226. I won't forget it. And so, but we had that area, so there was a lot of good police work to get done down there. You had the 30s, which everybody loved you. You had the 10s, where everybody thought you were, happy to see you. Folks would pay for your meal here and there. You had the 40s where you had a lot of work, and you had the 50s that had a little bit of mix. You know, so you had and you had White Rock Lake.
Yeah.
Who could ever?
Right. Yeah. It's
Yes.
nice. It's still nice.
Yes, it is.
But you had 5 points that you go to the other side.
Yes. So, you know, you got this variety you could always eat too.
Yeah, it's a big one you can eat.
Yes, you can eat at Northeast.
You got to search Southeast. There was nowhere to eat.
Yes.
You wouldn't.
No.
You wouldn't want to know about what they're stirring the beans with. You know.
Right. So, yeah.
What kind of work did you gravitate to when you got out there?
Oh, I was a dope chaser.
It's a common theme with our guests.
Yep, I was a dope chaser down in the John West Buckner area.
So growing up in Southside Chicago, did you feel like you had a good mind for what was going on in Dallas or was it totally different in Dallas?
No, absolutely.
People are people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This the same thing all over. So I knew exactly what I was looking at. There was no doubt about what the guys were doing and what I understood it to be.
So you recognize the game just from growing up at it?
Yes, it was 100% the exact same thing. And I remember a couple of guys you get into it with, had some confrontations, this and the other. And I told the guys specifically that were hanging out in front of the 7-Eleven, because there used to be a 7-Eleven right there, Buckner and Peavy, where it kind of does a little Y at. And Laura Johnson asked some guys to leave. She retired from the department, but she asked some guys to leave. They didn't leave from in front of the 7-Eleven because they were slinging. So I'm talking to her, and we kind of look over. They're still standing there. So we go over, talk to them again, go back to what we were doing. I look over, and they're still standing there. Well, I'm from Chicago, so my understanding of policing is the police had to tell you, first of all, when you saw them, you're supposed to leave, right? But secondly, they talked to you, and you still stayed there. So I took it as a very, very hard disrespect. So went over, we had some very choice words, and they went across the street. But that was my beginning of, y'all just don't respect the police down here. So,
was it different in Chicago though? I mean, as far as the respect.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they ran. It wasn't going to end up well for them. But as far as the police versus bad guy, was there more of a relationship there than it is there in Dallas?
So the saying in Chicago used to be, "Who's the biggest gang in the city?" And that was the police.
Okay.
The police are the biggest gang.
They do have a big ass gang there.
Yeah, right. So you have the neighborhood, but if the police come around, that's a done deal. That's not any joking. You're gonna respect that. And so my understanding of how the respect should be shown was kind of different when I got here, because it was kind of soft, and I was like, no, that's not how that works.
And what year was that? When did you?
I joined the department in 99.
Okay, 99. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of ramping up to whenever you left patrol.
I left patrol in 2003.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell the listener where that was.
What's that?
Where did you go?
I left patrol and went to SWAT.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that. What drew you to that unit?
So that's a funny story. I was in deployment, plainclothes deployment. So I went from patrol, and I applied to deployment probably about a year after being on the streets. I applied, and why
don't you tell the listeners what deployment is?
Yeah. So deployment is at the time is a proactive unit. Essentially, you have half of the unit was plainclothes, the other half of the unit were uniformed. And essentially, you'd go out and you'd observe people selling drugs, selling whatever, doing whatever your lieutenant or chief at the time would ask you to go do to find and help bring down some crime numbers in a specific area. And oddly, at that time, my lieutenant was DOB. And so David Brown.
Former superintendent of Chicago PD,
Correct.
David Brown.
Yeah, but he was my lieutenant at Northeast at the time. He was a lieutenant over at least deployment and all the administrative stuff. And so deployment also would go out and do kind of like what our fugitive guys would do currently. Hey, we want this guy.
Long before Metro and all that.
Yeah,
fugitive. Yeah.
Hey, go find this guy. So we had amazing group of guys that had some real skills. David DeRica and Alfonso Ellis and a bunch of guys like that were just awesome at doing the job. So I remember applying, and I didn't get picked the first time around, and I thought it was absolutely insane. I was like, how do I not get picked for this, right? I'm from Chicago. I got this skill set. I know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And I think it was the second time I got picked to come to the unit and be plainclothes. So while in deployment, we did a warrant class, and SWAT put it on. So we do the school. It was a week-long school just to learn how to go in an apartment if you had to, because even back then, your deployment units did not run warrants. I mean, we didn't kick in doors at all. I mean, we would get close to it, but we wouldn't kick any in. But if we had to go in, we had at least the basics of what SWAT was going to do. And so I guess I did okay in the school, and I didn't know there were some conversations had, because back in the day, it was more about who you knew than the fact that, I'm just going to apply and it's just straight even across the board. So a opening comes up for SWAT, and I was like, cool, I think I should, I'll apply, talk to the guys. They were like, man, yeah, we've already talked to some people. They said you probably would do pretty good over there. I'll make a phone call. And I was like, I don't know what that means right now. I was like, okay, cool. So apply for the opening when it happens. And before, probably about 2 months before we do our testing and stuff, David Brown takes me over to Central. He's like, hey, come ride with me. And I was like, yes, sir. Ride over to Central. I meet Chief Mona Neal, Bobby Owens, and Patricia Paul Hill. And David Brown saying, hey, this guy's a pretty good guy. Take a look at him. I think he'll be in the next warrant school if you guys take a look at him. And I was like, I don't know what all this means. I'm just shaking my head. Right. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So all that happens. Warrant school comes up, and all my guys are like, hey, you better show out during the school. And of course, that's not what they said. You better show out. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'll do the best I can. And so back then, you didn't have a selection school like we do now. You had the PT test, you had an interview, and that interview was with the sergeant and the squad. The whole squad had to be there for that interview.
Wow. So the entire squad.
Yes.
Yeah, they're picking a new family member.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and that's how it specifically was back then.
How old were you then?
26.
Wow.
Yeah, 26.
Pretty young. Pretty young for SWAT.
What?
Yeah.
Super young.
Especially for that group.
Yes. Very young, very naive, very, just, you talk about wet behind the ears. No idea what I was getting into.
How'd that interview go when the whole squad come in? Who were some of the heavy hitters in that squad?
Everybody in the squad was a heavy hitter.
Come on, let's hear some of them.
So my squad then was Steve Claggett.
Oh, so we've heard of him.
Yeah, Steve Claggett. Bob Cockrell.
Heard of him.
Rich Emberlin.
Yep.
Randy Lancaster.
Okay.
Johnny Baker. Mike Keating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kind of murderer's row there.
Bruh, you talk about.
Did they just line up and just like on the
Murder
Three
Squad.
Stooges, just slapping that man?
Bruh, it was awful. And at the time, it was Stan Bass was the
Stanley?
sergeant. Yes, Stan was the sergeant.
I like Stan.
And so you talk about rough. I mean, everybody sitting there just looking at you with this hard stare, glare, and asking questions. I mean, because initially the sergeant's just asking questions, and you're just looking like, okay, and you're trying to answer. You think you're giving whatever answer you can.
And then they would fire back with some others.
Yes. Oh, my God. It was – you walked out of there like you just failed. Like, no, they're definitely – I died.
It was like our interview board except times
Worse.
1,000.
Yes. Yeah. It was you I walked out of there like, nope, they're not going to pick me. There's no way in hell they're going to pick me. I was like, I don't have an answer to any question. Like, how familiar are you with weapons?
They have a trigger.
The academy taught me how to shoot properly, and they were like, right, this eye rolling back, and they're like, this is not going to work. This is not going to, so, do you have any experience with rifles? I've never shot a rifle. No, sir, I don't. Do you know anything about any sort of tactics? No, sir, I don't know anything about any sort of tactics.
How many spots were open you were applying for?
When I applied at the time, there were 5 openings.
Okay.
And
did all 5 get filled when you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty odd at that time, because at that time they said they'd never had 5 people come over at once. Like, it was ridiculous. But I came over with Misty Misty Van Kuren, Jason Perez, Kelly White, and Todd Stratman. And me and Todd Stratman ended up being squad mates. So I ended up being the new guy with another new guy. So I thought that was going to save me, but it didn't.
He was from Northeast also, right?
Yeah. Todd,
Great dude to be paired up with.
No, it was not. No.
Why is that?
All the attention went on you and not
Oh
on
my
him.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So it was not great because Todd was super awesome, like in everything. When Todd has a specific way and method, he is organized, methodical. Todd is.
He's not showing up at 8:05.
No. No. Todd got there at 7:15.
Okay.
For the 8 o'clock deal. And Dre now in SWAT gets there at like 7:53. And everybody's like,
he's early.
yeah, what? No, he's still late.
That's not early.
Yeah, no, that's not early. And they're still looking like, what, the new guy, FNG. Yeah, so that was a heck of a process.
What was the culture like in SWAT during that? You mentioned off some big names, and the listeners heard quite a few. And Randy Lancaster, I ran into him not long ago, and he listens. And Claggett has been on for several episodes now. Some hadn't even aired yet, and we go back and forth. He listens as well, and he's going to be. He doesn't know about this. I've been keeping this episode under wraps. So now you know I'm sure he's not going to listen to this. How was Steve Claggett working with? Well, hey, don't worry. He doesn't. Steve won't listen to this.
He won't
one.
listen to it at all.
No.
So Steve, Bob, and Rich, Mikey, or Rich. I can't put Rich in there. I'd say Keating. Steve, Bob, and Keating were absolutely. What's the word I'm looking for here? Impossible, absolutely impossible to please. Like you did it wrong. Did you show up on time? Yes, you're wrong. Are you humming? Oh, we don't hum. And it's like, bro, are you kidding me right now? Are you so serious? Yeah, yes, we're serious. It was, those guys were good at knowing their job, and they were hell trying to teach it to you. And I don't know if it was because I didn't have any experience at anything, or the fact that there was just slight assholes that made it so difficult. I appreciate now how they were relentless in making sure that the standard was held, though. I can't knock that because I understand what the purpose was. But going through that was shattering.
Well, this is also the first time in your life that you haven't been fantastic at something just right off the bat.
Correct. I had zero skills. I had zero knowledge. And I think it was Mike Keating that said, come to work, shut up, listen, learn, go home, practice. And I said, yes, sir. He said, no, come to work on time, shut up, listen, learn, go home and practice. And I was like, yes, sir. And he kind of looked at me like, you're not listening.
You're already ready for your yes, sir response.
Yes, and he wasn't trying to hear it. Yeah, no, it was a tough crowd back then. I mean, those guys were relentless.
How long did it take to fit in, to finally get accepted, and you felt confidence around that group? Don't worry, Steve, don't listen.
Yeah, I know, right? So I don't know if there was ever like a really fit in. I was still Dre, right? So I'm still kind of I'm going to do things my way I think. I still had piercings. I remember when I applied, I had my tongue pierced at the time. And Steve Claggett was like, what the fuck is that in your mouth? I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, you know what I'm talking about. What's that in your mouth? I was like, it's a tongue piercing. He goes, we're SWAT. We don't do that. And I was like, well, I do. So I'm already going to, I'm messing up the motif. I'm going against the grain already. And I was like, okay. I said, I can take it out. No, Rich Emblem was like, you probably want to take that out. And I was like, no, I don't think so. Bruh. So with that, I think just like with other SWAT guys, just like SWAT is now, you're not going to fit in until you can do the job. And if you come in, you start showing your worth, coming in, working hard, actually going to the range and learning and doing what you're supposed to do, then you'll fit in, at a point when you're contributing to the team. So that took probably about a year, about a year before, my shenanigans kind of fell off and I realized that there was some real work to be done.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little known show that came to town. And I watched some episodes recently.
Mm-hmm.
I had to force myself to watch. I was kidding. And, Steve hates talking about it.
Oh, yeah,
I
we all
wanted to get some research on you. And one of them was when you had with the hip injury.
So actually, it's still kind of out of whack. And actually, so it wasn't an injury. It's just that there's a misalignment of my hip. And it's still kind of out of alignment. I just have to repetitively keep correcting it, because unless I have some sort of surgery, it's not going to change. And I don't plan on doing that anytime soon. But I wouldn't say just a real injury, just an impediment a bit.
So when that idea for the SWAT show came up, how was that accepted amongst that group? And they went to your unit, right?
Yes, so it started with a unit, and it went to the 40s mostly. Most of the guys were from the 40s. I have zero idea how I got on that show. I was just told, hey, this is going to happen, and they're going to follow you. And I said, yes, sir. I have no – that was 2005, so I'd been over there 2 years, maybe a year and a half, almost 2 at the time. I had zero say-so in anything.
Bob Owens, a lieutenant?
Paul Hill. I had Patricia Paul Hill. She was my lieutenant.
Okay, and Owens had moved on?
No, Owens was still there, but at the time we had the 2 different units, so you had 2 lieutenants. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was watching one episode the other day. You're up on a hood of APC, covering up a window.
Yeah. So
bringing back memories.
Yeah. I was still quite athletic back then.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever thing needed to be done, it was like, we'll get the new guy to get it done. He can cover it off.
You look good. Actually, I took a still photo of it. I'll send it to you later. Of you up on the top on that hood. It looks good.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
No, you'll remember after I send it.
After you show it?
Yeah. So once you start getting a foothold and get more of a reputation as Dre and the older guys that were the legends over there and the hard asses, they start kind of phasing out. How long did you stay there in SWAT at that point? Because Claggett left in 2007, and then everybody else kind of started.
Yeah, I ended up leaving SWAT in 2009. So
okay.
I was there for most of the guys' tenure, and I guess I would say that the work, how you work, is where your respect comes from in SWAT. You've got to put in the work. You can't just be a cool dude and then make it over there. You've got to work. You got to work your butt off. And so once I realized that I didn't have a choice, and my natural abilities, my skill set, that this just gift of athleticism wasn't going to be enough, you got to knuckle down and work. I mean, you really have to work to get that skill. And so that's what I ended up having to do, was really put in some time, really put in some hours to learn how to do the job, and then the respect came along.
So what made you want to leave SWAT?
At the time, my stepson was 15. Was he 15? About 14, 15, somewhere in there. And he was just being a knucklehead in school. He was, sophomore year of high school, being a little knucklehead. No different than any other 15-year-old. But the schedule at SWAT was ridiculous. I think the month I left, we had probably 18 or 19 different times that we came in. Like, it changed between 4 a.m. and, 7 p.m. when we would have to make this adjustment. And I was like, I can't monitor him and get things done with him that needs to be done on this schedule. I mean, it was, and that included callbacks or whatever. It was crazy. And so I just thought it was more important to make sure the family was good over the fun I was having in SWAT. And so that's why I left.
You're pretty calm and cool. Was there an incident that happened over in SWAT that rattled you? You can remember?
Yes, two more specifically. One, when Paul Younger saved my life, sergeant. Well, he was a sergeant. He was my sergeant at the time. Actually, three. Sergeant. So Younger saved my life. We were on an operation, and I was the new guy, so I was carrying everything up this ladder to a second floor or a third floor of an apartment, and I'm toting everything's on my back. I got my own gear, and I'm walking up the ladder. Team's already set. Last guy up, and I'm getting closer to the top. We're at a steep. It's a really bad angle for the ladder to be on, and as I get closer to the top, the freaking ladder starts pulling away from the damn landing. Yes, we didn't cinch it in and, kind of lock it in or tether it in like smart people. It's like we used to ride on the APC without any tethers on the freeway.
Yeah.
Because it was cool. Yeah.
Looked good.
Yeah, it was great until you hit a bump or something. Mm-hmm. But so we didn't tether that ladder in. So I'm getting to the top. I've got all this gear, and the ladder starts falling back. I notice it starts. There's nothing I can do because I'm holding the ladder and I've got all this gear, and there's a fence behind me that we have the bottom of the ladder against. So all I can see is I'm going to fall on this fence and break my back. There's nothing I can do about that. At the very last second, Younger turns around and looks, sees the ladder moving, and grabs it, pulls it in, grabs me, and I'm like, thank God, because I was up. I thought it was done. That was one, because, again, I felt like I had zero control. The other one was JT Curtis saving me while I was rappelling, because, again, I had zero skill, so didn't know what rappelling was. So I'm at the top of the tower. JT's explaining how to belay, how to control yourself on the line. So I go inverted. No, I didn't. I was doing an L on the wall. He was like, all right, cool. Now just turn around, and you can, turn around and face down as long as you keep your hand in the same spot. Yeah, well, that wasn't making sense. So I turned around, I let go. I saw the rope in front of me, so I let it go to go reach with the other hand, and JT was on belay. And he yelled some very choice words and ran back to stop me from falling. Of course, I got some more what the are you doing? And so that was probably the second thing. The third thing was a hostage rescue on Martel. That bothered me a lot.
That's been a common story that's come up. Misty brought it up, and then Bob Owens brought it up. Chris Webb.
Big one for him.
A lot of his episode was centered around that.
That was very hard. That was a very hard thing.
What was the hardest part for you? Where were you positioned whenever?
We were there. I was on the entry team. Okay. I was on the entry team. I was slamming. Once we were told that this guy was going to pretty much give us a countdown, I was on the entry team, slamming the door to get the team in, and we wanted to do some other things. We wanted to do some explosive ports, and this is when explosive breaching or energetic breaching was really, really new, kind of right at the beginnings of it. But what we knew based on this apartment was that we couldn't get to this guy. We saw where he was, but we knew the kid was in another part of the room, another part of the apartment that we couldn't get to. I mean, so we had all sorts of things set up. There was a ramp. There was a team at the door. There were snipers up. I mean, it was just a bad deal, and we knew this was going to go bad. So by the time we get the word that it's going down, and he was in the kitchen dinette area, we get the go-ahead. We start breaching the door. I start slamming the door. I slam at the door. We didn't know that he put the couch in the way in front of the door. So I'm slamming the door. To get the door just about open, and Rich Emberlin was actually going in one. I think Rich was one, Scotty was two, or something like that. Get the door partially open. Rich steps up. He sees the guy, right, but he can't get in. So the guy starts shooting at the door. Rich was like, trying to get a shot but couldn't get a position because the door still wasn't open. So I yell at Rich, to get out the way so I can hit the door. So the guy is shooting as I'm slamming the door. So get the door open. Rich goes in. I think him and Scotty end up going in behind the guy and addressing him once he gets into the bedroom, but it was already too late. But that was a heck of a moment because there were so many other things I think we could have did. I mean, that was, in my opinion, a failure for our team. And that's not opinion. We failed because we didn't use everything in our toolbox that we could have done.
There was a baby.
Yep.
There was a victim, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, his son. He had let the mother and I think a daughter go, or it was the mom and another one of his children, but he kept the son. So.
Yeah, Chris Webb talked in great detail about that, and so did Misty. That and Owens was not out there, but everybody was rattled. They even talk about the debrief after, and you were in on that too, right?
Yes, sir. You can't make that was not a. When I think a SWAT guy decides to do this job is not because he wants to be himself or herself the best that they can be. They want to be able to be utilized to save someone, to do that ultimate thing, which is to protect the person that can't do it themselves. I mean, that's running warrants for dope. Okay, it's just practice, in my opinion. That's just the job. That's just work. Okay, it's just work. The real meat and potatoes of our job is saving someone's life that absolutely cannot do it themselves, or the situation causes that the stakes are so big that only a select few can make this happen. That's when it's time to come to work. That's when you really get this thing in. And if you don't do that, you failed. What are you here for? And that's how the team felt. I mean, that was a tough one for us.
Especially for a child.
What was that kid gonna do? Yeah, that was a bad one. That was bad. We had some people, some command staff, I think, that tried to say it was okay. We did okay, and I think that part is what rubbed everyone else wrong. Right? They didn't say it was success, but they tried to give us excuses. You guys couldn't have done anything, or he was going to do what he was going to do anyway, or all of that nonsense that you definitely don't tell a team that's trying to go save a kid.
It's like polishing a turd.
Yes, absolutely. That's probably the best way to say it.
So you left SWAT. How difficult was the decision? You said it was you had some personal reason you wanted to get out of there.
Yeah, I left SWAT because, like I said, my stepson was just being a little fart. Not a bad thing, but I think you have to understand and decide that your family is more important than police work. And so even though I was having a great career, I realized when it comes to the department, the department's not going to be here for you forever. Your family will. So you have to make that sacrifice. I mean, it behooves anyone, any officer, to realize that the department is a temporary thing. Your family's going to be there well after the department's gone, well after you retire or whatever it is that you do. Your family's always there. So
they're your legacy, not this.
Yeah, the department's
not just department or a unit or a badge or it's your family's your legacy.
Yeah, I mean they're the ones that are going to look at you when you're not working, right? When you're not in that place where someone's giving you the data boys. Because SWAT, you can get the data boys, yeah, good job, man, this, that, and the other, but your kids, that's something different. You can't replace that.
Yeah, so family was the reason you left SWAT.
Absolutely.
You said that it was like the most important thing. Mm-hmm. And for me, I didn't have a child until midway through my career in SWAT. Mm-hmm. And I always kind of used the excuse that I'm there enough. Oof. And for me, though, I didn't realize, I guess, how much I was missing out until I actually left SWAT. Yep. And then I saw how much time I was actually spending at home with my wife and my kids. Mm-hmm. How did you see that? Did you saw that prior to leaving, or?
No, I didn't see. I can't say that I saw what I was missing. I just realized that the effect of things going in the house were just not. My kids weren't responding how I know that I've raised them. And I was like, okay, why is that, right? My son to not have his grades be where they're supposed to be, to not be as disciplined or responsible as he's supposed to be. I'm like, that's uncharacteristic of him. I'm like, well, why is that? Well, because you're not here, right? And he's a teenage male feeling himself, so he's going to do what he wants to do, especially if dad's not around.
Right.
And so that's all it was to me. And I was like, that's an easy fix, right? In my opinion.
So when you left SWAT, where did you go?
I went to the mounted unit.
Wow.
Best job I have ever had.
You look good in that damn outfit and those boots. I remember
Tight
that.
pants.
Yeah, tight pants,
tight
yeah.
boots.
Yeah, I saw you out there at the fair.
Did you have experience with horses before that?
Zero.
Oh, nice.
I had never touched a horse prior to that, like ever.
They're powerful. They could literally murder this entire room. But they're so beautiful and powerful.
They don't care about anybody or anything being there once they decide they want to move.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How quick did you adapt to that unit?
It was probably 6 months. So funny story on that unit was that I applied sometime in June or July, something like that. June, I think, to the job, and I came over in August, and they were prepping for the state fair. All right, so they're like, okay, cool. The school for mounted is 7 weeks. It's like, all right, well, 7 week school. We'll get you through it. And, that's what they're saying. I'm like, okay. But we got to prep for the fair. So there's not going to be a school during the fair. And then right after the fair, you kind of take a break because the hours are so long during the fair. Then that rolls right into Thanksgiving. So you can't really do a school during Thanksgiving. All right. Well, right after that is Christmas. So you can't do school. So we'll start your school in January.
So you're doing several months of shoveling horse shit.
That's exactly what I'm getting to. So I come over in August, and what does a former SWAT guy do between August and January?
Work a shovel.
Tactical poop scoop.
Yeah, bro. A shit shoveler. That's what my job was from August to January.
Well, at least you got a lot of pieces of all the seasons in there. So you almost got all of them.
Yeah. So I go from being on Dallas SWAT.
Yeah, the Dallas SWAT show,
premier operator. I've been over other countries teaching SWAT stuff to shit shoveler.
You're well rounded though. I mean,
It was humbling. It was a very humbling thing. I never bitched and moaned about it. Didn't say one thing while I was there, but I will say that it was awesome because I didn't have any experience. I think
it was new.
Yes, it was new. I had zero experience with horses. I didn't know what I was doing around them. Damn sure didn't know how to ride one. So that time between August and January, I actually got to know all the barn stuff, right? I got to know how to vet a horse. I actually was at the vet for a week learning all the stuff that you would have to do to a horse in case of an emergency, or how to give shots in a muscular, in a ventris, whatever, all of that. So I learned a lot about equine horsemanship before I even got on the back of a horse. So by the time I did, all I had to do was learn how to ride, which was still hell. But
yeah, they say that mounted school and then the motor jock school is the two toughest in the department.
Bruh, I don't know about the motor jock school. I've always wanted to take it just
to experience it.
Yep, just to experience it. But that mounted school is hard. That first week of bareback is ridiculous.
What was the hardest about that?
I didn't know how to ride.
That would be problematic.
Yeah, yes.
So this is twice now in your career where you've jumped into something pretty major with zero experience and just trying to drink from the fire hose.
Yes, sir. And so with, again, no experience, I'd already been given the tools, right? Shut up, listen, do what you've been told, and practice. All right, got it. I mean, that's what I learned in SWAT, so I'll bring that same attitude and same demeanor over here, which is what I did.
Well, Mike Keating was a man of very few words, but the words he said you had to listen to.
Yeah, you had no choice.
And every other word was usually a four-letter word.
Yes.
But he was one of those guys that just dropped knowledge on you, and it was like
it stuck,
packaged very neatly, and here it is.
Mm-hmm. And when it came to Mikey, he'd give you what he thought, and there was not a second guess or doubt about what was on his mind, and he would give it to you straight. So, but again, great wisdom for when I got ready to go to mountain, right? Because I didn't know. There was no issue now about showing up on time, because actually I wanted to get there early to learn, right? I want to prep my horse so that I can get out there and learn what I need to get done, have the horse ready for what I'm going to ask him to do.
Well, right now, one of the big new things for dealing with PTSD in military and first responders, equine therapy. And horses are very empathic. I mean,
Very.
Did you get a calm around them? Because you go from a very high-paced, high-paced job. You didn't get that?
No, unfortunately not.
Really?
No.
It worked in
Oh, my
reverse on
God.
you.
It was awful. I got this horse named Tommy. He was a Caruth donation. Tommy, the saying was, when you get on Tommy's back, it feels like sitting on a coiled spring.
Wow.
Like he is ready to break in half at all times. And
Like
he
a
was.
Slinky Dog on the Toy Story.
Yeah, yes. 1,500-pound Slinky Dog.
Nothing like the Slinky Dog. Right?
Did nothing. Zero.
Yeah. Horrible analogy, Joe.
Yes. But my God.
I had my moments.
Brad, that horse was, so I'll speak to the therapy part first. The therapy part about a horse or equine therapy is if you are calm, the horse can be calm. So that's a good thing. But if you're up and antsy, the horse is up and antsy. They can pick up on that. They really feel that. One of the things I had to realize was that a horse can feel a fly land on it. Right. A fly. Sometimes we'll sit there, we don't even know the fly's on it. A horse can feel that. So if a horse can feel a fly land on it when you're sitting on his back, it can really tell if you're nervous, if you're off balance, or you're off center, all of this stuff. The horse can sense that. So if he can sense it and he can feel it, then you're probably doing way too much. And that was the biggest thing that I learned over there. So I left SWAT trying to be the tip of the spear. You're not going to be the tip of the spear on a 1,500-pound animal. You're going to have to calm the fuck down. You just have to. So I got over there and got this raging horse that had bucked everyone else in the unit off of its back at some point in time, including myself, several times. And we ended up having a great working relationship. Like I said, best job I've ever had. The reason mounted was probably the best job I've ever had was because I got to see the other end of policing. I got to see the we're happy to see you part of policing, which I hadn't seen at SWAT, right? Most of the time, it's super critical. It's super incident. It's a critical incident if we're there to save someone. It's we're going into these drug-infested areas to go clean it up for you or stop this crime or something like that. When you're on horseback, though, man, people want to just come up and talk to you.
And that's not just in the typical parts of the city either. It's everywhere. The kids love to come up and see the horses.
Even the adults. The rock stars.
Yeah. I mean, you go from being one of the most hated people on the, in the community to the most loved. They just want to talk to you. And they see the truck and trailer pull up, and they're coming over there just to rub the horse, and you can just have a regular conversation. It was absolutely amazing. Total opposite.
It is form of community policing when you bring out the horses too, but for crowd control, they have a different tool. And JD came and talked about the Cowboys parade of how they helped save the day on that Cowboys parade in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. So with the horses for crowd control, before I go into that, there was one year during the the Texas OU stuff in West End, where they put the segways in front of the horse to try to get some crowd control stuff done. Segways.
Yeah, nice.
In front of the horses. It didn't work out so good. Segways got taken over.
Yeah.
But the horses are awesome because how they're trained, they're gonna move regardless. And so that was a good thing. A crazy tool to realize, right? That you're on the back of this animal, 1,300 to 1,700 pounds, and it's not going to stop if the rider is asking it to, which was amazing because, again, I didn't know anything about them. So very different.
God, that's fascinating. I love going out and visiting the barn and being around those animals. So how long did you stay there?
5 years.
Wow, 5 years. And then did you promote sergeant from there?
No.
Where'd you go from there?
I went from the mounted unit to the basic academy, DT instructor.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What'd you like about that?
Man, so I liked giving.
Working out 6 hours a day.
Yes. So
I didn't get my run in today. Hey, grab those 2 classes and let's go run them for 5 miles.
Yes. So my in shapeness was on full, because you got to be in shape if you're the DT instructor. You can't be the slacker, right?
Yeah.
So that was awesome. That was a great job. Wasn't as fun as mounted, but it was a great job, because now I think it was the first time I saw myself transitioning in my career to now I'm giving back. It's not about me just receiving, taking, learning. I'm actually giving something back. I did have to learn how to teach, though, right? Because I had been a teacher at this point. And so now I'm having to learn how to teach in various methods, various ways of giving people information, because everybody doesn't learn the same. So some people are visual, some people are physical, some people are listeners, all of that kind of stuff. So how do you teach the one thing to 5 different ways of people learn, and how do they all get that skill? So again, it was something different for me to learn how to do in the job, but it was very nice giving it away.
And then it helped mold in the future of this department out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when did you go back to SWAT as a supervisor?
So I left the academy, and I was actually on Chief Hall's detail. And before that, I had taken the test for sergeant. I got promoted, I think I don't know what round, maybe the 3rd round of sergeant promotions. So I left, so stopped working with her and went to Open Records for 6 months. Which is, again, totally different job, because now it's 100% administrative, and I have 0 skill sets in administration.
And you're supervising, majority civilian.
Yeah, it was actually about half and half.
Was it? Okay, there was a lot of permanent light duty folk back down there.
Yeah, there were quite a few permanent light duty, and just the number of staff had decreased. So you get this task of reducing all these numbers, 10,000 open records requests. Oh, you're brand new sergeant, go ahead and get those numbers down. I said, what? How? I don't even know what an open record is. Where is it? Right? And I'm thinking it's somewhere we can just go get it.
The files are in the computer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're never ending.
No. Oh my God. You get hundreds of requests per day, like 200 to 500 requests in a day.
And they're backed up hundreds, thousands.
Yeah. That unit was backed up thousands of requests, not including media.
So what did you do? You just grab people on special assignment to bring them up to supplement your personnel? Or?
No. So I asked for all of that. No. They said, no, we can't do that. You guys are going to have to find a system to work that out and get those numbers down. So we did. I think by the time I ended up leaving after 6 months, we got the number down to close to 4,000 or 5,000. So, and again, it doesn't stop, right? Because the numbers you still have still come in every day.
Yeah, it's a waterfall of. It's like you're in a bucket and you're in a boat under a waterfall and you're bucketing out water and it's just pouring in on top of it.
It's never ending. Those people work hard over there.
It's like a 1,500-pound slinky dog. Yeah.
It is, yeah, just like that. That's gonna be the title of this episode.
1,500 pounds.
Yeah, 1,500 pound slinky dog. So I want to get to where you got back to SWAT as a sergeant. How did that go for you coming back as a leader?
So first of all, it was really difficult for him because he had huge shoes to fill. I mean, talk about walking into a situation where you can't win.
So people aren't going to get that joke.
I just had to get it out.
Kent Wolverton was the SWAT sergeant over the 810s, and then he went to K9, and there was a vacancy, and then it became Andre Taylor as a SWAT sergeant for the 810s.
Right. Andre showed up before I left. I'd been waiting for like 6 months to move, and he shows up on like a Tuesday and is like, "Hey, when are you going to K9?" And I was like, "I don't know, like 2 weeks or something." He's like, "Oh, I start tomorrow." And I was like,
"What?"
I was like, "Cool. Like, here's the keys."
So, funny story about Kent. I'm at the academy one day, and this is a sidebar. I'm at the academy one day, and I'm in the bathroom, right? 2 guys in the bathroom. I see this guy. He's got a SWAT outfit on. I go, hey man, what unit are you in? He's like, oh, I'm in A unit. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Who's your sergeant? He's like, what? Who do you work for? He's like, what are you talking about? I go, well, I mean, who, where are you at? What do you do? He was like, I am the sergeant. I was like, oh, well, my bad, bro. I didn't know. So it was kind of funny because Kent looked at me like, retard, I am A10. And I was like, I didn't know, bro. I don't know you.
It was a typical experience with Andre where everybody knows who Andre is, and he's like, I don't have a clue who you are. Like,
Yeah.
I run a
You work
4-3.
here? You work here?
What do you do?
Yeah.
You run a 4-3?
You don't run a 4-3, do you? No. And you've never been on A&E.
Yeah. You've never
dismiss
stood
yourself
on
now,
top
please.
of a APC hood.
Choke yourself.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I didn't know, bro. I'm sorry. I was just saying what's up.
Yeah, it kind of threw me off guard because he was like, who's your sergeant? And I was like,
I'm in the JET program.
I'm the sergeant. Like I think I'd been there for a while too, so it was kind of, it threw me off as like, who's your sergeant? And I was like, oh, really?
Dude.
Okay, maybe I'm okay.
I run things over there.
I took it as maybe I look really young.
So I came back to Kent's squad, and initially, right off the bat, did everything wrong. Oh my God!
How so?
Oh well, I came back trying to be an operator, and the whole squad kind of let me know that I wasn't. Right? I mean, I was in shape still. I could pass PT tests, but and I understood what our tactics were because I had the experience. Right? I was an operator, but you've got years. It'd been 11 years since I had been in SWAT at that time. So it's not that I didn't have an understanding. Most of the tactics were pretty much the same, but you don't have the same skill set. So I came back trying to be an operator, putting my nose in places that it shouldn't have been. And the squad was quick to let me know.
Now, some of the squad mates, it was Danny. You're on that squad.
You see that smile on his face?
Yeah. Can you kind of follow that up with your perspective?
Well, I just say, if people aren't quite understanding, it's like I don't need a supervisor to do the port and cover and put his rifle in the window and confront suspects. I need the supervisor to be back to tell us when the pull goes and it's safe to do so, so the port and cover team can move up and do those things. You know, and that's what Sarge just talked
It's
about.
a different level. It's a different level of that.
And I get it's probably hard to do
Yeah.
that job and then come back and not want to have your fingers in it still, or even just naturally feel those urges to fill those holes and be part of the team, be part of the guys.
It was a very hard thing. Probably one of the hardest things that I've done was to realize that you're not that guy, right? You have a job, but that's not it. So do your job.
And it's not nearly as fun as the stuff they get to do.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. It is not that fun at all. Lots of paperwork. Lieutenant Vernon helped me. He was my lieutenant at the time. He
Great
retired.
guy.
Yeah, awesome dude. But he gave me this very long-winded story about being a Marine, which, again, I have no military experience, so I had no idea what he was talking about. But in short, what he said was that on the battlefield, sergeants are directing fire. They're not shooting. And I was like, okay, or at least that's the sum of what he was getting at. And he, in short, he was telling me to realize what my job is and to direct these guys and not try to get in there and do the job. So it took a little bit, a few more bumps on the head to try to actually get back and get that bigger picture view and realize what my job was. So that was different.
Yeah. So this brings into mind another story I have, which is we're running a joint operation with the FBI. And this is big to do in a weird circumstance where we are going to run a hit on a house. At the same time, FBI is going to hit the house directly across the street. We're going to do this all together. It's a big dog and pony show.
Awful.
And I'll just say that team leader for the FBI SWAT team at the time was a subpar leader, probably a subpar operator in these aspects. And so we do the operation, and this guy is known for constantly being up here with the yelling and the way he controls and the way he commands. And he actually comes across the street at some time and starts yelling at me about something. And I want to dress this guy down. I want to say some things, but at the same time, my job is supposed to be over here with the team, and I'm trying to pay attention to this. And
He's distracted.
But I want to deal with this guy like, hey, knucklehead, go back over there and deal with, we know what we have going on. But our situation is still going on. It's still a little bit chaotic. And for once I was a little bit speechless, which normally I'm not. And all of a sudden I feel this tap on my shoulder, and Dre says, "Hey bro, I got this. Go ahead, go back." And he looks at the guy and says, "Hey, can I talk to you over here for a second?" In the midst of two things going on, with this team working this problem over here and Dallas SWAT working this house, Dre comes up behind and says, "I got this." And then pulls the guy aside, like, "Let me talk to you over here for a second." And then took care of that problem. So came in on the team as wanting to be an operator, and then fast forward a little bit and you have Supervisor Dre.
Learning, still learning. All right, still learning. It's important. I'd say it's pivotal to trust your guys, right? And you have to trust them to do their job. These guys train hard, they work hard, and if you can't trust them to do their job, you're failing as a supervisor. And again, that's one of those things. I don't like failure. I don't like failing, especially in work. And then I have an understanding of what failure at SWAT looks like, and I think that's just I'm just intolerant to it, just absolutely intolerant to that. So I took it kind of hard on myself when I saw myself failing in my job and what my responsibilities were, and I just wouldn't have it. I just figured something needed to be different. So.
You're like, this is my new role, and this is what I need to do to be great at this. Because you've already, the skills, 11 years in between when you were in SWAT, even though you had all this experience, and any skill is perishable if you don't apply it.
Yeah, and as soon as you step on the range with them, you realize that you're subpar.
Yeah. So what you saw SWAT from 2003 up until when you left, and seeing the culture from what it used to be to what it is now, what is the biggest change in culture in that unit that you can recognize?
I would say what's the same first. What is and remains the same is the guy's dedication to save life, right? That has not changed. The vast majority of the team will put themselves in danger to save someone. They will. And not only in danger, but they will do all the necessary things to make it happen, right? They're going to go above and beyond. They're going to think outside the box. They're going to go to extremes to win, and win within the boundaries that the law provides us, right? That is huge, right? To realize and to come back to realize that that's not different. I was very happy about that. What is different is the how it's done, right? The how it's done is different, right? Because back then it was do it as I say do it, and then new guys are going to kind of follow suit. So, for instance, like when you came over as a new guy back then, you got whatever car you were going to get. There was no question about it, right? You just got a car. I was happy to get a car. New guys now come over and think they're supposed to get a specific kind of car. You're like, FNG, are you kidding me? You barely got here. You don't even know anything. What do you think? What do you mean you think you should have? And so that's different, right? But I think it's just generationally different for officers. I mean, that's not just SWAT.
No, you go to patrol, people immediately want Friday, Saturday, Sunday off right out of the training.
Right.
And they want a nicer vehicle. They want the Tahoe to take out.
Yeah, and we're also seeing the things like, oh, well, I'm not doing so well in this. That's your fault. You're not teaching me good enough, or you're not doing a good enough job on training me. Yeah. Whereas accountability, maybe I need to go work on this a little more on my own time.
Yeah, that is pretty big, right? Guys think that that is just going to come automatically. Yeah, and none of it.
Hard work.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to put some dedicated time behind it. So that's different. It's not bad. It's just different. I will say that it doesn't take them long to figure out, though, that you're going to be behind the curve if you don't.
One thing I like about, I have a lot of friends in SWAT, you included, and what I always love about SWAT is that the leaders that are over there, the Danny and Matt, and they you win. You said the objective is to win. But what I like about that unit is that they, even if they win, they try to figure out a way to win better.
Oh, yeah.
They want to, to make it better and to improve.
Yeah,
That's so impressive because there's so many people that are satisfied with mediocrity or just getting by. And in that unit, I don't believe, for everything you've already talked about, that's not a place to just get by or be average.
No, you're not going to get a participation award there. Not at all. I mean, just because you're present. If you're present only, you're going to be ostracized. I mean, there's no participation awards. You come in and you work. And when we look at it, we do the job, we find something, we're good, we get it, and you say, okay, that was a success. All right. Right after you say that's a success, you ask, where can we improve? Where did I mess it up at? And not only to yourself, but to the guys with you. All right. Because someone else may see you mess up, and then that needs to be addressed. Because we can do it better. We can be more efficient. We can be, as the old saying goes, smooth as fast. It can be done better.
Do you rely, now that you're in a different role, do you rely on your stronger leaders, your ASL, your Canettis, and other folks underneath you to carry you along? Absolutely.
There's no way I could do SWAT stuff without the guys who are there. I jokingly say they don't need a supervisor, right? And they don't need a supervisor to run an operation, right? I'm there to assist with whatever they need. The plan is generally the guys. The guys come up with the plan. I'm seeing if I see any holes in it or something that they may not have considered. But it's not because these guys can't do the job. I'm a bonus. I'm a little piece on the end.
You're like a light hand on the steering wheel.
Yeah, I'm the old guy in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the old guy in the back. I just, I'll check behind the door.
All right, we're gonna get into a different topic.
All right.
Okay. I want to talk about January 2023.
Oof.
Yeah, we're really shifting gears here.
Yeah.
And and what we're going to talk about is probably going to be a surprise to a lot of people, and it's going to shock a lot of people. But I kind of want it's time to open this door and go on through.
Time to get into the good stuff.
Yeah, we're getting into it.
All right.
So in January 2023, I'm going to describe, it was January 21st, Carmen's birthday, my sweet daughter.
Really? Okay.
So I'm getting ready for Cops Cop. I'm getting in my tux and getting ready. And I get an email come across to the wellness unit. I see the name, and then I see what's in the email. Mm-hmm. And I got to say that I was stunned. I sit there and I stared at the email for a good minute and a half in disbelief. I actually started trying to search the department director to see if there was multiple Andre Taylors in the directory, and I could not find any.
Yeah.
So I replied. I want you to kind of pick it up before you sent that email,
okay, and
tell the story, and then we'll get into it.
All right. So, I think I sent that email on a Saturday, correct?
Saturday.
So that Friday night, I'd gotten off of work and figured I was gonna, just relax a little bit before I worked an extra job that evening. I was supposed to work an extra job, so I got off Friday. Came to the house, had myself a drink. And I was like, I can have probably 1 or 2 drinks, maybe 2 to 3 early, kind of let it sit out, drink some water, and be good to go to work. Definitely nowhere near inebriated. Good to go. So I had probably 2 to 3 at first, and then I don't know how many I had after that. But by the time I realized I had more drinks, I definitely couldn't go to my extra job. So I didn't. But since I wasn't able to go to my extra job, I figured I'd just go hang out with some guys. So cool. Went out with a couple of guys I ride motorcycles with. Hung out with those guys because they were out drinking. I was like, all right, cool. Hang out, have a good time with these guys. That was probably about 8 o'clock. So I got off at 6, had a couple of drinks, decided, well, I'd had too many to sober up in 2 hours. I'd had too many to come down from working my job at 10:30, and I knew it. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to go out and have some drinks. So what rationale that made, I can't tell you. But I realized I couldn't go to work. So go out and have some drinks with these guys. We drink probably till 3, 4 in the morning. And I've got to get back home. And I was like, all right, cool. Normally, you take an Uber, have somebody drop you off. I drove home. I get home, get in, pass out. I wake up, and I ask myself, what the fuck did you just do? I said, you drove home and knowing you were wasted. Wasted. At that moment, I recognized that I had a problem. I was like, I was going to throw away 24 years or 23 years at the time of my career. It could have happened, right? Because I stayed right between Mesquite, Dallas, Seagoville, that low area, and off of 20 where state troopers come. And this isn't 2001, 2002, 2003. Back in those days, police stop police. You go, hey, where are you at? Who's your sergeant? They'd even call your supervisor and tell you your supervisor to come get you, right? Something like that.
I drive your car and they'll drive you home. Yeah.
There were a bunch of different things that they would do, right? They call your spouse. They keep you there. Call your spouse. Tell your spouse to come get you, right? They're going to try to help you and regulate it somehow. But I drove home, and I didn't cause any damage, but I realized at that point that I was about to throw away my career. I didn't think, I wasn't thinking. I woke up and realized that I could have just lost everything. Everything that I provided to my kids. My son is still 18, right? He's 18. He's still on his way to graduate high school, about to go to college. Had I got stopped by any department, the current culture is you go to jail. It's not even a doubt, especially finding out you're a police officer, a sergeant in SWAT, and you were driving your car on a public street intoxicated. How many times have we heard that story? So it was hard. It was really hard for me at that moment to when I woke up and realized that I risked everything, everything for my family, right? Because work is one thing, but not providing for my kids is another. And I had a real hard time with that.
And being a role model, you have a reputation, Trey. You may not want to believe that, but you have a reputation of being a badass, and you have so many people that look up to you, including your kids.
I get that. I never try to look at being a role model more so, right? I just try to do the best I can do. And I don't mind doing that, right? I'll do whatever I can to make sure the job is done. But even to this day, I don't see myself as a role model, not in that respect.
So that that Friday when that incident went down, when you went out, was that just that only incident where you realized
no.
Shit, I got a problem here, or was this something?
Yeah. So this is the bigger part, right? This was in my opinion, this was the straw that broke the camel's back. I had already been drinking quite a bit. I would say I would clear at least 2 bottles a week, 2 bottles of a pretty good alcohol. I wasn't doing box wine like some guys I know. But, I spent about $150 a week on liquor.
How long has this been going on?
I'd probably say at least the last, January, probably last 6-7 months. Or probably, by that time, by the end of January, 6-7 months. And I'd say probably so from the summertime. And hard to say that summer came around, and I remember having the thoughts that my son was going into his last year high school, right? My daughter's already graduated. She's in the military. And I'm like, what am I going to do? What's next for me? Again, work has been important, but not a priority. And so I didn't know. I had a hard time filling that hole, right? Filling that place. I wasn't doing things that I normally like to do. I used to go roller skating all the time. I really hadn't done that. I'd say maybe there seemed like there was a misguidance. I didn't have a direction that I was really going in. You know, being a SWAT supervisor, again, you're there, you're like, all right, cool. But these guys are working. I just do my little piece. I'm not really needed, right? All of this other stuff that you've got all these things playing in your head, and you're trying to work with it. So I'd have a drink or two or three. And then, you know, I will say this, you end up having a schedule or a bit of a disciplined way because we're on callback, right? So if you're a primary sergeant, you can't get wasted by any means because the phone can ring at any point in time. And again, I'm not going to fail on my job. But if I'm not primary, then I don't necessarily have to be there. So on my months that I'm not primary, it was on. I mean, it was like really on. If it was my month where I'm either primary or secondary, then it was just light, but it's consistent, right? So that was the problem for me. And I'd say, like I said, it was about a 6-7 month span. So by the time I actually drove back from that event, I realized that I had been drinking all this time. And I had, you know, flirted with getting things done, or, you know, I'm close, but that was the deal breaker for me because I risked it all.
I don't know if I can speak for everyone on the team, but I would guess, because it was this way for me, working with you every day, I had no clue. No clue.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, because when you said this, of course you go back in your mind and you replay everything, and I'm replaying, man, we just had this call out, and he was there, he was fine. Mm-hmm. We had this, we did this. I mean, well, like how? It just I couldn't wrap my head around about how you were fitting it in.
So the fitting it in is always and I've heard some other folks say it. So I'll start it this way, right? This is probably the easiest way to say it. I was a functioning alcoholic, right? I'm not going to say that I was a just absolutely under the table alcoholic, right? I still had to maintain my life. I still had to maintain my bills, my son's stuff. I still had a job. I still had things to do. So I still felt responsible, but I was drinking regularly, like very regularly. And I knew that I was responsible for things. So I would just moderate how much of that drinking I could do. I knew specifically I could have 3 drinks and to give me a 2 hour of 1 water after each drink. 2 hours later, I would be 100% sober. Oh, I knew it was done. How big that drink was may have been a little different, right? And if, again, like I said before, if I was primary, it was 2 to 3 small drinks and a couple waters afterwards, because I have to function. My job is to think, so I still have to be clear. My working out keeps me in shape, right? I like to run. Of course, if you're drinking a lot, what do you have? A lot of sugar. What do you need to do? You need to burn it. So you have to run, you know. So there's not necessarily a methodology, but there's a way to maintain it. There's a way to keep it moving. What most folks would see and go, oh, Trey, you're in great shape. I knew in my mind, oh, this isn't great shape. This is actually kind of trash shape. Because if I wasn't having all that sugar that I just had the night before, I mean, I'd be super lean, even at almost 50. But I was willing to, have that as a counterbalance.
So you basically created a survival system for yourself. You had to.
Yeah.
And honestly, since we're going to get into more of this unit and helping people with going through rehab, and I've heard a lot of similar stories, I'll just say. And basically you have to create your own system that works for you, because some of the people that do it, they don't have the workout,
correct,
the work ethic that you have when it comes to working out to have that release.
So I think the bigger part of it is that people, when you're drinking like that, some folks fall, I guess they give way to the alcohol, right? And they give way to it because it becomes more important than what they think their responsibilities are. That night, the alcohol gave way, and it was more important than my responsibilities. And that was the end of the road for me. because the realization that everything could have ended that night was more than I was willing to deal with. And I realized that I didn't know how to stop it, right? Because I've been doing this for 6 months. How do you stop that? 6-7 months.
Once you got to that point of realizing you couldn't stop it after 6-7 months, and it was snowballing, clearly.
Yes.
What were your next steps, your thought process, and what did what did you turn to? I know where you eventually turned, but I want you to kind of explain to the listener your thought process and what happened in January of this year.
I've never seen you more uncomfortable than you are right now.
Yes. Wow. So I can say this. My thought process. So I woke up from my stupor, and I realized, again, like I said, I could have lost everything. And the bigger part was I didn't have an answer to fix it, right? So here I am, this guy who normally fixes problems, makes things happen, pull himself up by his bootstrings. I can get it done. I couldn't get it done. I didn't have it, and I didn't understand why. That to me was absolutely unfathomable that I couldn't stop this. I remember a time, shortly, I was in patrol, me and a couple of guys, one guy who was in SWAT, now retired. We were patrol guys, and I remember us going out one night. We were drinking a Long Island iced teas. I had 5 in one night, 5 Long Island's, top shelf, at a very special bar called
Neon Cowboy?
No.
That's too classy.
Yeah. I think it was the Hurricane bar. Now it's Doty's restaurant, but I think it was called the Hurricane. But I had 5 top shelf Long Island iced teas. And that night I was like, I didn't even feel like I got buzzed. Now, how do you have 5 top shelf Long Islands and don't feel like you got buzzed? It's crazy because they made them with 5 shots apiece, right? So I realized then, I was like, all right, done. I'm done drinking. And I actually stopped drinking for like 2 years. Just like, hey, that was it. But this time I couldn't. And that was the crazy part for me.
Why do you think you couldn't stop? What was going on in your life?
I don't know that it was so much of what was going on in my life, more so than what wasn't. What I later realized after going to the treatment center was that I wasn't taking care of me anymore. I wasn't taking care of myself, my heart, my soul. Everything was external. And that thought that I had about my son leaving and being that empty nester kind of thing was that it wasn't a void. It was a lack of action. It was a, what are you doing? What are you really doing? And I didn't have an answer at that time. And so now this drinking just kind of continues that hamster wheel. And I still didn't have an answer, So it was pretty tough. I mean, it was unsettling, but you still got to come and do your job.
So that next morning, that Saturday when you clearly flew too close to the sun, right?
Yeah.
You came to a realization you needed to do something.
That morning I realized I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop drinking. And I just risked everything in my career. I risked everything I'd ever known, as far as how to make a living. And I said, how do you fix it? And the answer was I couldn't. So I said, well, where do you get some help from? And I thought about the wellness unit. I was like, well, maybe I need to reach out to those guys. I remembered we had that program started by Chief Garcia that said, hey, if you reach out for assistance before you get in any trouble, before there's an investigation, then we'll help you. So I typed in the wellness unit address on my city phone for the city email. Boom, I just typed in wellness unit, address pops right up. I was like, all right, cool. And I sent I think I just sent the statement, I think I need some help or something like that along those lines. I don't even remember the words. But what I do know is that as I'm typing it, I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be fucked up, right? This is going to be bad for me. Because I'm thinking about who I am, what I've done on this department for all this time, and what are folks going to think? How is this really going to work? Or what's this going to look like? Who's going to respond? Anybody that responds, I'm pretty much going to know. I'm like, fuck it, send it, because you don't have an answer. So I sent it, and you responded like 3 minutes later.
Yeah, that was because 2.5 minutes I was in shock. And I had passed out. I stood back up and gathered myself.
Found him in a corner crying.
Yeah. And then
My favorite Dallas SWAT
my
character.
character
action figures.
So I remember responding back, and I said, can you come in Monday and let's talk about the options? And you responded, thanks, bro. The sooner the better.
Yep. So what I realized at that moment is that, number one, my son has a saying, the cat's out of the bag, right? That's kind of one of the things he says when things are at its end. It's like, well, the cat's out of the bag. So I kind of thought the same thing, cat's out of the bag, gigs up. Once I said I needed help, to me it was all hands on deck, full steam ahead. There is no, okay, well, let me rethink this. Nope, it's a done deal. So the sooner the better was the train's already left the station, but I can just jump on and go get it.
We need a destination. The train needs a destination.
Yep, it's got to go somewhere. So
was that stressful, or was that more of a relief?
Fuck, it was stressful as all get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was stressful because after sending that, I realized I'm going to have to tell everybody, right? Because I know the policy says you can be on administrative leave, it'll be confidential, yada, 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 yada. And I know that's what it says. But how do I tell my guys I'm gone for 30 days starting Monday? Or, Sarge is on administrative leave. What the hell? How? Did he do something? What's this explanation? And so in my mind, the truth is just what it's going to be, right? That's, again, some of that Mike Keating. This is what it is. So we're going to work with it. We're going to deal with it, So I was like, I told my guys, let me back that up. Saturday, I'm just wallowing all day because I just sent this text. I don't know. I sent this email. I don't know what this is going to look like. Sunday, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be stupid. Monday, I think is when I sent my guys a message and said, hey, listen, this is what's going on.
Yeah, you and I talked. We talked last week a little bit offline, kind of prepping for this interview, and you said that when you first sent it, you hit the send button. Then you thought, okay, well, let's see how long it takes, and if there's a time frame that it goes by, then you're gonna say hell with it.
Yeah, well, I'll say it like this: if an hour had gone by, or 30 minutes to an hour had gone by, nobody said anything, cool, it's gonna be done. Don't worry about it. I'll fix it. I'll find a way to fix it myself, right? But the fact that your response came like immediately was able to help keep me in the same mindset to let's keep going with fixing this problem. Because had there been a delay, I promise you I wouldn't have gone forward with it. I'd have been like, that was a misprint, that was a missent email. No, I'm good.
So Danny, this is for you. Whenever he talked about telling the team, and we Gordon earlier, and also the detective that we're going to get into him too because he has come forward as well. He wants to pay it forward. That he had to tell his unit basically because you disappear for 5 days. Oh, he's vacation.
Yep.
Well, you're gone a whole month. No matter what you coded on the time card, when you're in a tight knit unit like SWAT, especially when you're the leader of a unit, you have to tell them something. And so Danny,
I think that's out of respect. You tell them something.
Absolutely, yeah. Danny, whenever you got that a message, the notification, how did that hit you?
Oh, probably like you. I cried in the corner. No,
somebody hacked his email.
Honestly, just stunned, and like I said, you're just replaying all those things. I was actually almost more shocked about how quickly everyone on the team responded. So
that was immediate.
Dre sent out the message, and guys were firing off messages pretty quick, and I'm still over here kind of processing. So, and of course, everyone was very supportive.
Yep.
But I knew they were probably in the same boat I was, where they were just stunned as well. But they wanted to make sure they got it out there, like, hey, yeah, no, we totally support you and what you're doing, and we'll be here, and nothing will change. This job's still going on, and we'll just wait for you to get back. And
everyone basically said, go take care of business.
How did that make you feel, your family supporting you like that?
So, two parts, right? Because two parts of this story is that, one, when you realize you have a problem and you can't fix it, you have to acknowledge that. Secondly, you have to tell the truth about that, because otherwise it's always to yourself, right? You kind of keep that in. So letting it out that there was a problem was a bit of a relief. And then to have that support to let them, for guys to be like, listen, all right, cool. I hear you. Now go fix it. That's what I think I owed the team, right? I owe them the right to go do it, go fix it properly.
I was almost a little bit jealous. He's going to be gone for 30 days with no responsibilities. I actually was thinking more about his family and his fiance. They're kind of out of the loop with this while he goes off, and they're not quite sure what's going on, and they have to take care of things while he's gone. And so I think I reached out to him and said, hey, make sure your family has some of our numbers, so if something happens.
Yep. And I did, and make sure everybody was able to be reached out to.
Well, right after that, because I got pretty sick after that Cops Cup, and I was going to join you in the ride out to the facility that you ended up going to. So Gordon's been on. We talked about the new alcohol leave policy. So it's basically 30 days of, it doesn't count your weekend. So it's 30 days of paid time, and I've been on over 26 years. I've never seen anything like this. This kind of support coming from the top.
Yes.
That's a big deal. Can you imagine this policy being in effect when you were in 2004 SWAT?
What I can say, if this policy had been in effect, how many officers' jobs would have been saved, right?
Absolutely.
In 2004, how many officers possibly, right? Because, again, you still have to reach out for that help.
The individual still needs to be self-aware and then come forward.
You have to, right? And I think that's a hard part, too, is you have to acknowledge that you have an issue and that you want to change it. So if you can't do that part, then this policy won't help you. But to say that, hey, listen, I want to maintain my job, I want to fix this problem, this policy could have saved a lot of jobs, a lot of lives.
So the following week, you kind of wrapped up some things at home, and you met with Sergeant Figueroa, and
bruh. So again, now so you get that Monday, Tuesday, sulking in it. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Sunday, Monday, you're kind of sulking in it. Tuesday, they say, hey, everything's set up for Tuesday. We're gonna pick you up at Central or at the house, wherever. I mean, wellness unit. Hey, we'll take you there. I was like, cool, that's what I want. Just drop me off, do whatever you have to do. Did not understand what that was gonna look like. So here I am again, about to take in this adventure, this next step into what I don't know what's going to be. But I'm like, all right, cool, because I got to fix this problem. And like most of the things, I'm stepping into something else to fix a problem. So go to Central, meet there, drop all my stuff off, and let's drive out to Fort Worth. That was the longest ride that I had taken. Like it seemed like forever. And I'm like, I know where Fort Worth is. Oh my God, this is taking so long. Can we just get there? And I'm like, you're just sitting in the back, just like, oh my God, this sucks. Because number one, I don't know what to expect. Number two, all the doubts and questions, and I don't know what's being, you can't even worry about what's happening at work. What's going to happen when I'm gone at the house? Is everybody going to be okay? I'm not even trying to think about my problem, because I'm like, everything else is a problem, so to speak. Yeah.
You're so used to taking care of so many people and so many things, you cannot take care of Andre.
Yeah, not one part, not one thought on the way there about what are you going to do here while you're here to take care of yourself. Not one thought about that.
So you get to the facility, and you go in, and you know that you're getting stripped of a lot of things, literally, and figuratively. Mm-hmm. So you go in, you take that step, and you go into a world that you have never thought you would end up in, but you're in there. Can you kind of explain that?
Man, so you go there, they tell you no cell phones, no communication really, for at least the first 10 days. You're not talking to anybody but people here at the facility. You'll talk to the therapist. There's going to be a counselor or therapist to reach out for your family, so if something happens, they'll let you know. But for the first 10 days, you're going to be in a little detox period if you need that. And then within that 10 days, that detox happens, and then you can make some calls after that. But you're not talking to anybody. You're just going to talk to these folks, these counselors, these therapists, these folks on this Alcoholics Anonymous thing. You're going to sleep in these uncomfortable underwear. They're going to take your clothes. They got to put them in a hot box. Make sure you don't have bed bugs. So if you're in somebody else's clothes the first day, it was truly uncomfortable, right? I mean, you get this whole I'm about to be a prisoner kind of feel. And of course, you pull into the facility and they tell you, oh, you can't leave. I mean, you're here. You can leave. I mean, you know the truth. You can leave if you want to. But if you leave, you haven't fixed your problem. And you're on your own time, which, I mean, I get that. But you haven't fixed anything. The program is not designed for that. Yeah, that was tough.
What are your initial thoughts on meeting people there? Like you go through you talked about there is a mandatory detox period that we've learned now.
Yeah.
And it varies from person to person. It's just
Yep.
whatever level of alcoholism or addiction they have to go through physically, so they physically can survive, right?
Correct.
So once you get out of that and you start getting into these very strict programs, the program itself is built around the 12-step program. Going back to the 1930s, that's when the big book was formed.
Yep. So you get there, and you're welcome to come into any group conversation, discussion, anything right off the bat. So when you get there, you don't have to isolate unless you choose to isolate yourself. So if you choose to go participate, you can. So I participated right off the bat. I said, let me see what's going on, because the more I can see and be aware of, hopefully I can figure out how to get out of this thing and get it fixed faster, right? Because that's still my goal. I'm going to get this done and over with. So go downstairs, and from the rooms that they have, go downstairs. First group session downstairs, it's like a Bible study. And in my head, I'm like, oh, my God. Bible study. I don't do this Bible crap. So I'm introducing people. I'm being introduced to people. People are actually quite friendly. They're, hey, what's your name? My name is such and such. What are you here for? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm talking to this one guy, and he goes, hey, what are you here for? And I was like, alcohol. He goes, okay. Where do you work? I was like, City of Dallas. He's like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, where? I mean, what part of the city? I was like, sanitation. He was like, oh, cool, I work for the city too. I was like, really? He goes, yeah. I go, where do you work at? And he goes, police department. I go, you lie. He goes, no, seriously, I work for the police department. I go, you're kidding me. I'm like, bro, for the city of Dallas police department? He goes, yeah, I'm a police officer. I said, bro, you got to be kidding me. He goes, no, I'm serious. I'm a police officer. I go, bro, I work for the police department. He goes, what's your name again? I was like, Andre. He was like, dude, you're the guy in SWAT, right? And I was like, motherfucker. He's like, I'm like, yeah, bro. I was like, dude, you're telling everybody that you're police? He goes, no one cares. Craziest thing for me ever. He was like, bro, no one cares. There are all sorts of people here. I said, really? He goes, yes. No one cares that you're a police officer. We're all here to fix a problem. And I said, what? He goes, you have a problem. You're just here to fix it. I said, yeah. He goes, yeah, I'm here for alcohol too. I said, oh my God, I did not know. So I'd seen this officer before on the department. He's been on 20 years.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd seen him before. I just didn't, just saw him in passing. It's like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, dude, I do. I remember seeing you. He goes, oh, yeah, all the time. So you later find out that there's a fireman there. There's a engineer there. There are retirees there. I mean, not retirees from our department, but just retired folks. There was a professor, a 30-year dean of a university. Coming through that same facility, had been an actor, a news anchor, a fireman, if I hadn't said that already. And then, so that's on just your professional side, right? And then you have your straight hardcore guy who was in prison for 8 years. He's in this facility. There's a guy who's a manager of a warehouse. He's there. There are all sorts of people. There was a teen. There's a 19-year-old kid there. freshman in college, 19-year-old kid there. So, I mean, it spanned the full gambit of people.
So what was going through your mind with that? I mean, because you mentioned somebody there that you would not, just got out of the pen, that you probably wouldn't be hanging out with.
Yeah.
And just a variety of people that, we're, as police officers and first responders, we're kind of untrusting of outsiders anyway.
So, oddly enough, this guy, more particularly, so the guy had been in several different treatment centers. This guy had been in prison 2 times, 1 stint, 6 years, another stint. And he talked one day in a discussion, and he said, man, I appreciate you saying that you're a police officer. He said, because I thought, police officers were this, that, and the other. He has some descriptive words for it. He goes, but I get to see that you guys are regular people. He said, you go through the same things that we go through. I said, yeah. So the person that was leading the discussion said, hey, so has this facility changed your opinion of people now that, since you're an officer, now that you see that you're here amongst all these other folks? I said, no, it hasn't changed at all. I said, I had a trainer named Sam Britling. I guess that was my second phase. I said, he told me one thing about doing this job. He asked me, he said, hey, do you want to know how to do this job? And I said, yes, sir. He said, then treat people like you want to be treated. I said, yes, sir, I can do that. He goes, did you hear what I said? Yes, sir. He said, that's the only way to do this job. Treat people like you want to be treated. He said, if you can do that, you'll be fine. Everything else is simple. But just treat people like you want to be treated. So I told the group leader, hey, I've always done that. I've treated people like I wanted to be treated. I said, so it's no different for me. I'm not trying to, do I think I'm better than anyone else? I just treat folks like I want to be treated.
Like the 12 steps, one of the big things is, first, admitting you're not in control of your actions.
Oh, my God, Brad.
How hard was that for
these
you?
12 steps the first few steps were absolutely insane, right? When you get to this facility, you have to decide, you're trying to go through this program, right? Going to sit there, and they tell you, hey, the first step is admitting you're an alcoholic, right? You have to admit that actually, let me back up a little bit. In this group setting, everyone introduces himself and says, hey, I'm such and such alcoholic addict, or hi, I'm such and such, I'm an addict. Hi, such and such, I'm an alcoholic. And so the first week and a half, I couldn't say it. I was like, hey, I'm Andre, right? I'm not going to say I'm an alcoholic.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, in my head, that was a negative connotation. It's not, how many alcoholics do you know actually do things the right way, right?
And Andre Taylor has always been in control.
Andre Taylor has always.
Except for when you're up on that ladder one time.
Yeah, and Paul Younger saved me, yes.
You're back on that ladder,
yes.
And you're not in control, and that's not where you want to be.
Yes, none of that. All of that was exactly where I didn't want to be, and definitely didn't want to admit that I didn't have or could handle whatever I was going through. That was crazy. I can't do it. There's nothing I can't do, quote unquote, right? I can handle all of it. No, I cannot. So this whole week is going by. I'm refusing, like literally refusing to say I'm an alcoholic. Like I just won't say it. I refuse. I was like, I have an alcoholic mentality. And they're like, the guys are looking at me like, retarded. What do you mean mentality? Because I won't say I'm an alcoholic. So it took a little bit. And then we're in this big book. And I actually took a picture of this so I could read this because I butcher it. Let me see what this picture says. This is when I realized that I was an alcoholic. It reads, if when you honestly want to, you find you cannot quit entirely, or when drinking, you have little control over the amount you take, you are probably an alcoholic. And I was like, well, hell, I'm an alcoholic. I was like, it's written there. This book was written in 1934.
How many days into that?
About a week and a half.
All right.
Once you finally said those words, how did that feel?
It was conflicted. Right, I was conflicted, honestly, because I had a perception of what alcoholics look like or what an alcoholic is. And I've heard the term functioning alcoholic, right? But you even in hearing that, you think the person's life is at a decimal end, right? You think they're about to kick the bucket or everything's about to become unraveled. But I was like, that's not my life. That's not what it looks like. But yeah, when I read that, page 44, I was like, yeah, I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. Like, I am a SWAT commander. I am at the most prestigious units on one of the biggest departments.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be this.
Yeah. Look at what I've done in my career.
Exactly.
I can't be an alcoholic.
Right.
Look at what I've done with my family. I can't be an alcoholic. Yeah, I was.
Another part I was reading, it's examining past mistakes.
Man, so as you get into these 12 steps, right? The first one is kind of admitting that your life is kind of in disorder or you have a problem, right? It's kind of the general thing. Secondly, you have to kind of admit, and again, I say kind of, like very specifically, kind of have to admit that there's something bigger than you, whether you want to say it's God, higher power, doorknob, whatever it is. You want to kind of admit that there's something greater than you out there. If you can admit that, then the third step is, are you willing to let that greater power, a higher power, whatever you want to call it, are you willing to give into that so that they can help you? So that's the first kind of 1, 2, 3 out of the 12 steps. And for me, I think those were the hardest, right? Because I've had a spiritual background, not necessarily religious. And so I knew who God was to me, but I wasn't really communicating with him. A more lack of action on my part, right? I wasn't doing the things that I knew. I wasn't doing the things that I like. So that was difficult. I didn't have to acknowledge whether there was a high power. I knew it. So it was strange. So giving over to that, once I could admit that I was an alcoholic, then it became different. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4, 5, 6, 7 are where this whole house cleaning come in. This is when you decide, or the program, as you're walking through these steps, the program kind of goes into this course of, now that you've admitted that there's a problem and you've taken steps to give this power, your understanding, your willingness to this higher power to help you, let's help you get there. And how does that happen? Well, you got to start cleaning house. Cleaning house is simply saying or acknowledging all these things that you resent, all these fears that you have, all of these things that have happened with you personally. Admitting, number one, writing it on paper, right? So you write it down, all these resentments. And these resentments are supposed to be and can be anything, anybody, any institute, any persons, from your childhood all the way through your current time. You write down your fears, you write down your what they call sex relations, and that's just not sex like intercourse, but just intimate relationships, male, female, family, whatever it is, but how you showed up in those relations, right? How you showed up, the person you were at that time. And so you get into this house cleaning, right? And I'm thinking, I don't really resent people. I've treated people fairly well, and I've done this, I've done that. And I don't have many resentments. I really have like zero fears, more or less, just because I don't mind getting in it. And sex relations, I've treated people well, right? So I'm thinking I'm good before I start. I'm thinking I'm good. All right, I can handle this. Until the program started going. And then I learned that I was intolerant. I was dishonest. I was, judgmental. I was fearful. And so when you get into this house cleaning, you're doing it with yourself, a mentor, and one of the guides from the program. And you do all of this, you pray before you do it. And in this prayer, you're saying, hey, listen, I'm going to open myself up. I'm going to be honest here about what I have going on inside. And I'm going to do this before these two gentlemen or these people. And they're going to give me an honest look and an honest say of how I showed up in all these situations. Bruh, it was absolutely awful. So in short, it essentially said that I showed up as an asshole, judgmental to people, 1940 style person, 1950 style person, intolerant of others, judgmental of others, fearful of their concerns, fearful of my concerns toward them. Those were probably the biggest. And I never would have thought that. But when you're telling your story to people and they're listening for who you are and how you showed up, it's not your perspective. And so that was different, right? So go through all of this. You do this in a particular time frame, and you also have this therapist to go along with you, right? So this therapist is assigned to you. You see them every week. The therapist says, "Hey, how's your sessions been going? You know, how you been dealing with it?" And I'm like, "I'm okay. You know, no issues. I'm good." So the therapist gets to talking. I guess the first time we met, we probably stared at each other for about 40 minutes of an hour session, right? Because there just wasn't much going along there. I just couldn't get much out of me. Until he asked one day, he goes, "Well, what do you do to take care of yourself?" And I said, "What are you talking about? I'm in great shape. Look at this guy. I mean, right? I'm good." He goes, "No, what do you do to take care of your insides?" And I said, I didn't have an answer. So he looked at me and said, "Well, what did you used to do?" And it was like a light bulb, right? I was like, I used to work on old cars. I used to go roller skating. I used to just go outside and do stuff. I used to do this. I used to do that. I used to do so much stuff. He was like, "Well, why'd you stop?" Didn't have an answer, right? What I knew part of why I stopped was I was drinking, right? You can't go roller skating and drink. Well, you can. It's not going to be very fun.
It won't end well, potentially.
Yeah, not very well. I'm not going to work on my car and drink. I never did, right? Because I'm fixing a problem, right? So the therapist finally comes around. He goes, "You have a problem." And I was like, "Okay, cool. What is it?" I'm in a treatment facility. What? Yeah, I got that. He goes, "No, you have a self-care problem. You're not taking care of yourself." Bruh, it was absolutely crazy. I was like, "What? Wow. Never thought about it." Not thinking about everything and everyone else and all other situations. Not taking care of myself at all. It was strange.
That was like a watershed moment for you, and sitting there with that
it was
therapist.
It was a hard pill to swallow, right? Because in my head, my job is to take care of others, take care of people, take care of things. But you can't do that until you take care of yourself.
I was talking to Sean about the steps, and one of them, I guess you had to do something for someone else throughout the day, right? And
man,
and
yes. So there's the 10th step. So you go through there's 1, 2, 3. You go through 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9 are about the same. It's kind of your amends to those people that you wronged. Then you get to step 10 and this service, right? Step 10 is as you have a problem, you have an issue, you talk with a mentor about it, and they tell you how you showed up on that particular problem, issue, or whatever it is. So I'll give a quick description of one of mine, right? So you get this phone call that you can have once a week after you've been there 10 days. 15 minutes. You only get a 15-minute call. You can call whoever is on your list, but you can only call 2 people. So you can separate that call for 7.5 minutes for each person. Cool. So as long as you don't get any infractions within that week, or up to 3 infractions, you can make that call. Well, I think I had 1 infraction because I was late to a session. If you
showed up at 8:05.
Yeah, 8:05. I showed up, right? So I got an infraction for that. And I left a cup over in like a general area, right? So got another infraction. I was like, cool. All right, cool. I got 2, but I'm good to go. I understand it. Not a problem. Nothing else is going to happen, right? So put my name on the list to make my calls, because you got to put your name on this list. So I get ready. I get ready to make my call, and step up to the little counselor mentor guy, and I go, "All right, I'm ready to make my call." He goes, "Hey, there's a problem. You're not going to be able to make your call today." And I said, "What?" He goes, "Oh, you got 3 infractions." I said, "Are you kidding me?" No, I was only aware of possibly 2, right? Because I know I left my cup. I know I was late. I don't know of a 3rd one. He said, "Well, we've already called the assistant director on a Sunday and verified that you have 3 infractions, so you can't make your call." So I look at this dude and I go, "Yes, sir." But I am flaming on the inside. I am pissed. I'm just mad as all get out. But I'm respectful, right? I'm professional. I understand. The rules are the rules. So I go over to the workout room, and I sling around as much weight as I possibly can, right? I am trying to destroy like this workout. I'm still hot. I mean, I am still angry. So I come out of there. I was in there about 45 minutes. Heart rate. I mean, I was still mad as I was when I walked in. So I walk out, and this same guy that we were talking about, who had been in prison for 8 years, he comes out of one of the dorm rooms, and I'm walking on the track because I'm trying to calm down. He goes, "Hey, you good?" I go, "Not really." And then another pivotal moment, right? Because normally I don't share what I've got going on, right? So for me to say to him, "Not really," was a change, right? Because otherwise I'd have been like, "No, I'm good, bro," and I'm going to keep on moving. But I was like, you have to adjust this thing, right? So I said, "Not really." He goes, "I'll walk with you." So walking with him, and he says, "Hey, so what's going on?" So I tell him the whole story. And I tell him I'm pissed because no one had told me I had 3 infractions. So he's like, "Dre, right now you're showing up kind of intolerant." I was like, "Bruh, it's not intolerant. I was not informed." No. He goes, "Okay, well, you know what the rules are." I still wasn't informed. He goes, "And you know where you're at." He said, "Now you're being judgmental. Now you're being, what else he said? He said something else. I forgot what else he said. Because I was looking at him crazy then, right? He goes, "And I'm fearful because you're looking at me this way." And I was like, "Bro, we're good," right?
He just had the Rolodex of buzzwords.
Bruh. Yeah. And he wasn't in my session, right? He wasn't in that session when I was doing my housekeeping, right? And so we walk around. I told him, I was like, "Man, I'm not doing a 10-step. I'm just not 10-stepping this because now I'm mad, and because I'm mad at the system as it's set up, I'm not going to do what the system says to do." So he goes, I mean, I understand what you feel. I understand why you won't do it. I said, "All right, cool." So he goes, we made just one lap. So all that talking happened in one lap. He goes off. I go back to my dorm room. I pick up a piece of paper, and it's the 10-step paper right in the front of my folder. I said, "You know what? I'm going to do this 10-step. Right. So I go grab my mentor. I say, "Hey, listen, I need 10-step real quick." 10-step is simply saying you have a problem. They tell you how you showed up. Then you perform an act of service. All right, cool. So tell him what's going on. He was like, "Yeah, you're being judgmental, intolerant, delusional. You're delusional at the moment." He goes, so did you pray about it?" And I was like, "No, I didn't." He goes, "Well, you should have prayed about it first." Dang. All right. So he leaves. I pray about it, and I go outside and I go pick up dog shit because they had 4 dogs. So that was my act of service. I went and picked up the dog shit that was outside, and it was a lot of it. And after that, man, I felt so much better. It was absolutely insane that the act of service was, because I was still hot and intolerant of the moment, but talking to the people, which I normally hadn't done, was a little bit of ease. And it wasn't until I started doing something that it got better. So by the time I was done, of course, I was still not pleased by not having my phone call, because on top of all of that, the phone call was the day after my daughter's birthday. So I was going to talk to her for her, essentially for her birthday the day after. And so then I later found out. So anyway, all of that to say, the program works. That understanding how those acts of service that help you, and in turn helping someone else or helping something else, makes it better. But I later found out that I got a 3rd infraction for not participating in a class or group or session or something like that.
Forgot about that one, huh?
No, I just wasn't told about it.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I think it was more of a programming situation.
Yeah, of course,
to work it, but
there's force structure in there.
Yeah, I think it was a specific design, but again, my lack of participation, I'll own it for whatever it was at the point. Still got me to a place where I had to do something different, do something better.
Well, one of the reasons you're coming on this podcast is to help others potentially, and speaking about your experience and your story. I know it's going to reach others. I know it will, and there's going to be a lot of people that it reaches that are non-first responder, and we may never know
Right.
But this is going to be out there forever, and hopefully that somebody will pick up this, and your acts of service will continue long after.
I hope so. Right. So
I believe it will.
Again, it's kind of like not seeing yourself as a role model. It's not what the act of service is, as long as you perform and you do it, right? Because in my mind, helping anyone and however I can do that is awesome. And helping anyone is going to help me, right? I will feel better. I am better because I can help someone else.
What did you take most away?
Man, so the biggest thing I took away from this program was three things, right? Alcoholics Anonymous is, if I had to sum it up, a spiritual program of action right off the bat. They had several sayings written all over the place. One was like, it's not impossible. The word itself says I'm possible, right? Little stuff like that. Well, they had this one saying, and it said three things. Trust God, clean house, serve, help others. To me, that's exactly what this program does. That's what Alcoholics Anonymous as a program is. If you can learn to trust God or your higher power or whatever it is that you want to call it, clean house, simply taking care of yourself, getting out all the negative things, talking to people, letting go of whatever it is that you have holding on to you, that keeps you in your head, right? Sometimes when you're drinking or you're in this cycle, you think it makes sense, but that's when you need someone else to tell you how you're showing up, right? That's part of that cleaning house. You have to accept this is what your house looks like. You can get that part done and then help others, right? Because that's the true benefit. Help someone else, serve other people, and whatever that looks like, in whatever way that can happen, you'll be better for it.
Do you believe you spent over a month with these folks, almost strangers, even the other officers that were in there? And I'll come out and say that this policy has been in effect for 6 months, and we've had eight people, including yourself, go into this, you partake in this policy. Did you make some friends in there
My goodness, yes.
Okay.
Man, there are people in Detroit, Detroit, Arkansas, Georgia, a guy in Washington that we keep in regular contact now, just because we understood and went through this program together, realizing that this program is a lot more than just wordplay, right? This thing was designed and brought together in 1930, talked about in 34, put in a book in 1939. This thing has been around a long time, and it just so happens it has some proven things that work in it. I would say at its core, it's a good thing for just regular life, not just an alcoholic or drug addict. It has life principles. I mean, imagine if people just decided that they wanted to serve others regularly. I mean, everyone would be better for it.
Absolutely. So I'm going to kind of wrap it up as far as when you were getting close to exiting and that feeling you had whenever that last few days of being in there amongst new friends, hellacious structure. How did that feel to you?
So a little bit of a bittersweet kind of thing, right? So happy to get the hell out of there. But trying not to, as they call it, future trip about what it's going to look like, right? Because that's also a character flaw, right? You're not staying in the present moment. You're thinking about something you absolutely cannot control, something that you don't know is going to happen. So it's called future tripping. So I was just trying to stay present, trying not to anticipate what problems were going to be, what it was going to look like. Just stay in this moment so that I could just handle this moment. But very ready to leave, like super ready to leave.
Yeah, I want to describe your exit. So Sergeant Fig and I, we showed up that morning to come and pick you up. And we kind of, there's a long bridge that kind of goes over a stream that goes into the facility. So from my perspective, in my view, we stayed on one side, and I saw you, and then I guess all of your new, 30-day family.
Fan club. Yeah.
His fan club was waiting there. They were in a circle, and you were going around, and you were giving hugs and handshakes and exchanging. It was really nice to see from my view.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you started walking towards me, the cheering. How'd you feel?
So that was difficult for me. Oddly, right? Because I told those guys I wasn't going to participate in the bridge ceremony. That's what they call it, the bridge ceremony. I said, I'm not doing that nonsense. I don't do that. Right? I'm not doing this trash. Let me
walk out of here.
Let me walk out of here. I did my work. Let me leave, right? I'm not a ceremony kind of guy. It's not for me. And my good friend now, the guy from Detroit, was like, Dre, consider this an act of service.
Yes.
Bruh, had not
for
crossed.
Everyone else.
Had not
They
crossed,
wanted to cheer you.
It did not cross my mind. Everything for days, right? I had been going back and forth with this.
You thought it was all about you, but it was for others.
I did. And I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not participating in this trash. And so he said, Dre, consider it an act of service. And I was like, wow. I didn't even imagine it. And so when he said that, I was like, all right, cool. Consider it done, right? Get out of your own headspace. So, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a moving experience from me just being on the other side of that bridge and came over, give you a nice handshake and hug, and you were ready to get in the car and get the hell out of there.
I was ready to go. Ready to go. Actually, I was ready to go to actually do some good work, though, right? It wasn't because number one, the food was not as fun as you think it is. No, no.
I didn't think it would be.
No, it was not. It wasn't bad, but it was not good. But I was ready to serve, right? I didn't get into this profession for servants, to serve and protect. I came here because I needed a job. I understand why people do serve, though. All right, I can get it. I absolutely get saying, hey, you know what? I want to help. And that's why I'm here at this point, right? I really hope that I can help a bunch of officers. I really hope that I'm willing to do whatever that looks like to help, because it's a struggle. It can be difficult, and it's not, the help's not far. And whatever I can do to make that happen, man, I'm so into it.
Trust God, clean house, help or serve others.
Yep. It's easy.
And where did you, when you got back to work, you went right back into your unit, back to your family, right?
Yep.
Right back on call.
Right back on call. Yes, as a matter of fact.
And all the crappy text messages you get from 9 or 10 different guys blowing up your phone at once.
You didn't get buried somewhere.
No.
That's what when this policy came out, we talked about that. Because back in the 90s and early 2000s, you would be probably hidden somewhere.
Yeah, you're going to be hidden, dispatch or some station somewhere.
And that potentially could hinder your recovery.
Yeah, your willingness to participate. Right.
Yep.
But yes, so came back, and even more importantly, I realized no one from the wellness unit said anything about my deal. I told my guys, and I told my chain of command, but if I hadn't said anything, nothing would have been said, which was awesome, right? Because some people may have that fear, right? That I'm going to be talked about, or the wellness unit is going to leak that or leak it out, or no. When I asked about how does this admin leave look, it goes, oh no, we just call them and tell them you're on admin leave. That's it. And my lieutenant was like, yeah, they didn't say anything. They just said put you on admin leave.
So I'm down here in this office quite a bit. So I kind of feel like I'm like a part-time wellness unit, and nobody would tell me anything. Like I even dug around a little bit, to be honest, because there was things going on, and I was like, what's happening? Where? What? Like who? What? Nobody would say a word, and they didn't tell me to shut up or anything. They were just like, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's exactly what needs to happen to make this successful.
I agree. It was a great thing.
Yeah, Kent's kind of like the wellness unit shelter dog. He comes around occasionally with the back door. We set a bowl out. Snacks. Yeah, we set a bowl out for him. But yeah, that confidentiality is paramount with this, and so far I'm not sure of everybody that's entered. I know that the first 5 people that have entered have had a discussion with their unit and basically told them, "This is what I'm doing. I hope you support me," and and I believe they have.
Yeah.
You know, would you recommend if there's people out there struggling, and they are, we know they are.
Oh, yes, they are.
Would you recommend this facility or this program to get better?
Yes. So there are a lot of officers I know suffering, right, all over the country, not just our department. But yes, I would absolutely recommend. I would recommend this facility. I would recommend this program. I think there are some ways that we can do it better, right? I think, and again, I guess that's the SWAT in me, right? We're going to find a better way, a more effective way to get this done, because I don't think everyone is at the place where they have to go to a treatment facility. I think there are some things that can be put in place for that can help, but the wellness unit is the core of that. And I think what you guys are doing is so awesome, and it will help a lot of officers. They just have to reach out, right? There are people here willing to help. Just reach out, seek that help. All the fears that they have aren't really fears. They aren't really there. It's just in your head. So if they can get past that, yes, I would recommend that facility if they need it. Recommend this unit because it's going to help them regardless. But if someone's struggling, just make that call, send that text, send that email, reach out to somebody so that you can get that help.
Being vulnerable is difficult, but it's worth it.
It's essential and necessary, and it's the biggest relief off of your heart. You have to be vulnerable. And again, I'm definitely something I wasn't used to. But you have to do that part. That's probably the hardest thing for police to do, and definitely A-type personality police, is to make yourself exposed.
What's next for Andre Taylor in his career and life?
So career. Career, I'm on a list for lieutenant. And again, part of this thing is depending on how that looks. I actually got boarded last week, so we'll see what number they get to. Going into the wellness unit program to this treatment center did not affect that at all. So if if they get to my number, I can still get promoted unaffected, just like I came back to work unaffected. Just better, right? Better person overall. As far as the rest of the career, whatever comes down the pipe, I am here to help. I'd like to be able to put myself in a better position to help folks that need it. Oh my God, because whatever that looks like, right? I came back and Omar asked if I wanted to go to a peer support class. I was like, I'll take it. Whatever else you need me to do, bro, I'll take it. I'm in. If someone needed me, I'm in. And I would say I was definitely supportive of people and what we needed. Even on the team, hey, what do you need? I'm in. I got you. But this is bigger in my opinion. So I don't know what the career looks like. 5 years down the line, I don't know. But I'm here to help.
Yeah, we are actually we're going to put together honestly, we've had so many people involved with this. We're going to put together a peer support group that just targets the people with alcohol issues, because who better to learn from and listen to is people that experience it themselves. Because I could read all about it, I could watch shows about it, but I wasn't sitting in there getting stripped down by my peers and been looking in the mirror and not seeing what I liked.
It's a hard mirror to face, right? When people who you have to trust people to be honest, right? Most folks don't want to be honest. Like, I didn't want to be honest and say I was an alcoholic. But then how honest was I looking at myself when someone says, hey, you're judgmental too. You're delusional for thinking that you can just hold on to that. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. But is it the truth, right? And how many officers want to hear that uncomfortable truth? And we got to have that. And we do it to people all the time. Officers go out on patrol and they talk to people and they tell them the truth of their situations. But then we don't want to accept our own because we're the ones supposed to fix the problems. So, yeah, it's a strange thing, but we have to do that too.
Sergeant, I can't thank you enough for coming on here, for one, having the courage to hit send on that email and then reply. And then dealing in these situations, you never know the follow-up that is required after you agree to something to come through, right?
Yeah, very much.
And that's a big step. You've taken several big steps. Now your mission now is to help others. You've always done acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
But once you realize that you could even take that even a higher level, you're willing to do that. I can't thank you enough for all that you've done in your career. You're very respected. You're very well liked. And it's very admirable for you to go through this process and then want to pay it forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, bro, because you responded.
So I'm sitting on the same side of the table as you,
Yep.
and I can see you a little bit better than these guys can. Your body composition, your composure. When you were talking about before treatment, I told you I've never seen you more uncomfortable. Like you were literally gripping the chair,
Yeah.
and you were super tense. But as soon as you started talking about the 12 steps, you just completely relaxed and fell right back into.
It appeared that it was internalized in you, like you were comfortable talking about the steps.
It's transforming. I can't lie about it. It's transforming.
I appreciate that. You know, being open and being vulnerable is not comfortable for people, especially someone in your position. So thank you for doing that. And I mean, just trying to pay it forward, like we talked about, starting a group and talking to people. I think that's going to reap huge dividends. So keep going.
Thank you, sir. We'll do it.
Like everybody said, we all know you. We've all known each other for a while, and you know you're such a great person. And thank you for coming on and sharing your story. It's inspiring. You know, it makes me want to go out there and serve as well, more so than I do now. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for putting in the work, Sarge.
Yes, sir.
And throughout your entire career, being the person you are, being genuine, putting in the work, and now even more so leading by an example. You are appreciated on this department.
Bro, that's all right. Appreciate you, sir.
Hey brother, hey sister, I'll never give up on you. Hey Mrs., hey mister, I'll see this all the way through. No matter how far the sun and the moon, I'll never give up on you. Down when you're lonely, I'll pull you up. Life leaves you heavy when the going gets tough. I'll be your shoulder, together we'll run up from the bottom, yeah, we'll rise above. Hey brother, hey sister, I'll never give up on you. Hey Mrs., hey mister, I'll see this all the way through. No matter how far the sun and the moon, I'll never give up on you. I'll never give up on you. Hey brother, hey sister, I'll never give up on you. Hey Mrs., hey mister, I'll see this all the way through. No matter how far, for the gold and the blue, I'll never give up on you.